When the sons of the first people return, the codes awaken. The ancestors stir. And the future aligns.
Peace and blessings to the tribe. Peace and blessings to the clan. Alafia, peace. Pote, Tatatu. It's Matriarch Monday, and we have some amazing guests in the building tonight. Let me get this other brother in here real quick. Ow. So before anything else, it's Matriarch Monday, so I got to start with the goddess herself, the divine. Let me see. Mama Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes.
Guests in the building tonight. I'm not sure if that's an echo. If possible, everybody mute their phones for me. Mama Kelly, can you please introduce yourself for us, please?
It says stop.
Hello? She'll be back in the room. All right, next up, Waterfuck, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very good. I'm excited about what's being introduced, focused on indigenous futurism and connecting lines, bloodlines, tribes, families, solutions, herbal healing, and all of that. Technology, full sovereign existence, and restorative journalism.
I say. Brother, we have this brother in, let me see. Peace, brother. Pantera, can you introduce yourself for us, please? Can you hear me, God? Brother Ben, can you hear me? Yeah, can you introduce yourself to the tribe for me? Please, God, y'all can hear me? What's going on? Waterfucking, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Brother Ben, can you hear me? So tonight we were coming together because we were some powerful tribe leaders, elders, etc. We have Mama Kali's in the building. She should be back, and she has some good information from us. Mama Kali's from Georgia, right outside Atlanta, Georgia. We had a Water Falcon in the building with us tonight. He's in South Africa as we speak with the Khoisan clan, and the Khoisan is a very ancient tribe. We have them on tonight with this brother and sister right here. God, can you introduce yourself to us, please?
Konkia talaga urit ko katamkoy pi. It's my wife. Muwe tamas. Sanay Philander. Yeah, man.
And we appreciate y'all for you being here tonight. I know it's a lot, it's a lot going on technology-wise and everything else. But tonight we wanted to come together and communicate and learn and network and everything else with each other. I guess you something like ourselves, they use y'all and say the word apartheid. And tonight we wanted to talk on certain words, like especially apartheid, because they use that word like it's a faraway word or anything else. But I think they're doing apartheid right here in America. They're doing apartheid all over this planet. And they just use different words to play in our face. So what I strive to do with this network is to bring us together. It's going to be a couple of different chiefs that come through, and we might have a little technical difficulties, but we can all come in here and speak your truth. I love that you came and speak your native tongue. That's very important to our people, all our people around this globe. And your tongue is an ancient a tongue that's almost forgotten about. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Yeah, they say your language dates back all the way to ancient Kemet. So it's important for yourself and ancient bloodlines to keep talking and don't let these people do what they did to the other indigenous people and take away your tongue, your language. We have Daniel in the room tonight. We talk about language and wordplay. We got to talk to the young wordsmith himself. How you doing, God? You on mute?
Peace, gods. How y'all doing?
Man, can't complain, guy. Where you from?
I'm coming out of Orlando, based here. Indigenous blood reincarnated into modern day times.
I shall
But
say.
like Orisha Stone said, deeply intentional when it comes to words, art, any form of creative energy has to be a reflection of not just these times, a reflection of our ancestral legacy and what we're continuing in order to bring that restoration right now. So when it comes to whatever we creating, whether it's our music, our poetry, our artwork, the fashion, the jewelry, everything has to be tapping into what we come from in that revolutionary energy so we can keep moving forward with that slingshot energy, pulling back into the past to propel ourselves into the future.
I
I
say.
know we're gonna get into it tonight, but the topics of warriors in the garden is major right now, especially because we're in an age where we see a lot of people's auric field isn't protecting them enough. So a lot of people getting sick all willy-nilly and all over the place. So tapping back into that warriorhood in the garden, being a swordsmith with the herbs, being a swordsmith in the kitchen, knowing how to chop your herbs up, how to season them properly, get the right health in your body is important. And getting back into our foraging, intuitively going into a lot of these forests, a lot of these spring regions, these river regions, allowing our ancestors to work through us and help us navigate those plains so we can find some things that we can use to heal ourselves in this time. But peace.
Yo, God, I really appreciate you going in like that. So they know where we coming from as indigenous Americans and the thing that we do, what we're fighting for every day, because you summed it up, you know what I'm saying, real fast. And how old are you again, God?
22.
I'll say. We got this brother, Ben. Ben, you with us back? You back with us?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm here.
Man, would you like to introduce yourself to the tribe, please?
Sure. My name is Bobby French, and I am partners with brother Water Falcon Jamal. And I we started this. I'm here for being a custodian and warrior emissary to the Queens of the Shona clan, as well as several tribes throughout the Congo Basin. And what we do is, as far as the warriors in the garden, we are the asset management for several of the Cubalon tribes in the Congo Basin, and also throughout the Great Wall of Zimbabwe region. We are the custodians and asset managers for their precious minerals, gold assets, and cannabis and plant-based medicine, along with the South African with the Khoisan that Jamal has brought here to us. Um, and that is what I do. And as far as the Warriors in the Garden, I took it as a personal point to where once I had earned the trust of the Congo Basin clans. I earned their trust to be a custodian to make sure that their plant-based medicines and their natural resources would not be hoarded and taken advantage of. And I studied warrior cultures and history and ancient cultures, and then also ancient translations of the Bible, both Gez and also Greek. Um, and I'm hope to think that what we're doing is uniting the tribes by being able to have a platform like this and have a place where we can bring people like Sister Moss and the Khoisan elders and the Khoisan brothers from different tribes and share things with us and talk to us and be able to share our stories.
Man, I appreciate that, God. Yo, I gotta say honestly, man, I was doing a lecture well, not a lecture, I was doing a little debate, a subtle debate with somebody a long time ago, and I talked to you on the phone, and you gave me some real sound information, some real powerful sound information, and I gotta tell you, thank you, appreciate you again for that, because people don't understand how valuable knowledge and information is. And you say you're down, your feet down in the ground in the Congo right now.
No, no. I switched places with Jamal. What Jamal, I was there a few. I've been back from Africa a few times throughout the Congo and Zimbabwe, and I came home, and now Jamal is taking my place. Jamal, so I'm in Schenectady, New York.
I see. I've been talking to a couple people in New York as well. Well, real quick, Mama Kali just came back in the room, so I got to give her the undivided attention real quick. It's Matriarch Monday. Mama Kali, the one and only. Finally. Can you hear me, guys? Mama Kali? Can you hear me, guys? Mama Kali? Is your phone turned up? She's gonna figure it out. Boom. Yeah. So while we're waiting, because the reason we're having problems tonight isn't the usual. We got people from all around the world right now. You got brothers in South Africa, which is very important that we're talking to them. We're not just talking to hear ourselves talk, because a lot of people from the continent have came and tarnished the whole continent. When they come over here, they don't care about what we got going on in Americas. They don't care about um, they don't care about our struggles, what we're striving for. Everybody only cares about themselves, and that's why we're losing. The first thing they did was divide all the tribes and make us go against each other. So right now we're trying to tap in with a lot of chiefs. You know what I'm saying? When they say warriors in the gardens, it's a lot of Indians that's chiefs in their own respective on their own lands right now. So Water Falcon, you with us right now?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm trying to help Mama Kali get back in.
Yeah, tell her to
Yeah.
check the volume on her phone because I was speaking to her, but I don't think she could hear us. And tonight it's
Oh,
really
okay.
important that we,
Yeah,
we,
she's
we tap
got.
into Mama Cali tonight because she is a very influential elder in the Atlanta community, in Georgia, as far as the matriarch in general. A lot of people aren't known on social media. A lot of people are doing real stuff behind the scenes, and I most definitely wanted to take the opportunity. Let me see. Boom. Here she go right here.
Okay.
Can you hear us now, guys?
Hello.
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you?
Can you hear us?
I can now. I'm trying to get the visual on.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
Um,
Let's see.
You can go to the camera at the bottom of your screen, and then you can just play with it. Just hit whatever button. There should be one on your camera that says "face in front." Camera 3. Well, that's on my phone. Team camera 3. But if you go on the bottom, it should say either front or back camera. And tonight we got Mama Kali in the building. Like I said, we have warriors and elders known and unknown. They've been putting a lot of work in. So I'm trying to make a powerful one. And it's just the first of many too. While we're waiting to get up and started, this is the reason that we're the brothers gonna come on and explain the platform that they're building, so we don't have to have these problems. Because there's other platforms out here, indigenous owned platforms that we can do this with, where we don't have these hiccups in technology. While we're waiting, God, can you introduce yourself to us to the tribe, please? Matt. Matt, you there with us? There we go.
Yeah, finally I figured out what the problem was.
Oh man, it's gonna be a good one. I can tell already. So first off, guys, tell me about yourself. Tell me, who are you and where you from?
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My name is Kali Seekin. I was born in North Carolina. A part of in the area. I was born in Durham. North Carolina, in 1945. That makes me almost 81 years old. Now, my people were from an area called Little Kohari, North Carolina, and the Kohari tribe that is still in that area. Um, they got their recognition, I think it was in the 1970s. They were classified as Negroes, and they actually did get their federal recognition in the 1970s. And so there are a couple of tribes that is happening with. In fact, the Lumbee tribe, which is in that area as well, they just in the last couple of months got their federal recognition, and that was given to them by President Trump. So my mother went to the Lumbee Indians school in 19. She was 9 years old. She went to school in 1909, and that was one of those schools where they try to convince you that you're not an Indian. But that's neither here nor there. We know who we are now. I have lived here in outside of Atlanta now for about 28, almost 29 years, coming out of San Francisco. I moved to San Francisco, when was that? I think it was 1968. And I was there. I've got a long story, which does not belong to this platform, but I will share it with you. From the time that I lived in San Francisco, and my husband and myself, Dr. Khoisan, who was an ethnobotanist, we traveled throughout America introducing people to nature. We took nature walks. We took people all over the country, from Seattle to Portland, San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles. We were in Los Angeles many times. San Diego, the World Beach Center. We were there. Took people on nature walks. In Texas. And Atlanta, even when we were living in San Francisco, we made many visits to Atlanta, introducing the people also to nature by taking them to the botanical gardens where they've never been. I mean, you're right here in the city, you don't go see. And then we brought people out to our land here, which is really very well, it's a wooded area, and it has the indigenous plants of Georgia still here. We took many people to the botanical gardens and nature walks in Washington, D.C., and New York City and Boston. And so we traveled, and Cleveland, I almost forgot about Cleveland, and Chicago, we were there, and Detroit. And so we did cover the major cities. And this was some time ago. It was before everybody was really looking at herbs. And so it was like almost an official awakening to nature at that time. This is what right now I am involved in resurrecting the matriarchy. I had several women over here. I know a lot of elder women who've been in the struggle for a very long time. There are a lot of young people, some of the age of my children who are in their 50s, who they don't have that background that we, the elder women, have, and that knowledge that goes back. My father was born in 1896. Okay. And so I came up with all of that wisdom and then was introduced almost at the same time. As soon as I started the school, that was the beginning of the civil rights movement. Now, in Durham, it was one of the very first, the very first Black Wall Streets, which was still operative at the time that I came along in 1945. We had everything. We owned our own hospitals, our own nursing schools, our own stores, banks, savings and loans, insurance companies. That's who we did business with. And we had that direct knowledge of that, living that kind of life. And I know even my own children, they didn't have that life. They grew up in San Francisco. And they didn't grow up in they grew up in the outer near the beach in San Francisco, so it wasn't ghetto area. So, I've had my experiences. Oh, didn't even mention that we went all over Africa. I probably visited I think about 15 African nations. Never went to South Africa, but to West Africa, North Africa, East Africa, including Egypt, Kenya, and Ethiopia. I never got any further down than that in East Africa. And so I personally have that experience. So Jamal and I, we laugh about certain things, that he's encountering there at the first time, like the energy. You got to run when there's energy, and so forth. And of course, so as far as resurrecting what we had before, we need to look at the elder women. We come from a matriarchy. All y'all know about Big Mama. If y'all miss Big Mama in the neighborhood, then we've got a whole lot of learning to do. And one of the problems, is that we don't listen. The young people, they're too busy. I get it. Because work, take care of children, take care of your family and everything. It's a lot of work. And by the time you come from your job, you've been stomped all day and disrespected and everything. Yeah, you want to come home and just be quiet and don't say nothing, do nothing. But we have an obligation. And that obligation is to take back what belongs to us. We know who we are now. The matrix is collapsing. 3i Atlas has brought the matrix into our consciousness. That's what 3i Atlas is. It is an interplanetary visitor, but it has activated several different spots on the continent. I heard about it one day. I was listening to one of the videos, and then I tried to find it. The next day I couldn't find it. But what it was saying about the 3i Atlas is that it had activated some energy in the South Pole, which we know is an ancient, it is said that Atlantis sank and it's down there, and there is some activity, quite a bit of activity in that southern polar area. And another area that was activated was along the southwestern coast of South America, somewhere around Machu Picchu, and then another area that was activated was over there somewhere near the South Sea of China. So I'm not sure, but I never could find that information again. I guess it kind of slipped out They didn't want this to be known that actually there was some activation here on this planet by 3 Atlas. It was communicating. There's a lot to be said, but I know there are many people here, and I want to know who you are, because my plan is to make this land here in outside of Atlanta, very close. I guess I'm about within 3 miles of Tyler Perry's studio. You get on my main street and you can't help but pass Tyler Perry's studio going into Atlanta. And so I'm very well situated here, and actually planning to make this an embassy, this land, an embassy for our tribes. So I'm very well situated here, and we're working on that. Need a lot of help. Everybody want to sit on the internet and talk. And I was sharing with the ladies yesterday that, hey, we used to travel to get along and to get to for knowledge. We used to get together. You see, now we don't. We just get on and we see each other. I'm glad for the internet, and I'm very happy that we are hooking up with the indigenous tribes in Africa as well. So I'm going to stand down. If there's any questions that anybody wants to ask me personally, you may ask at any time. I got a lot of answers, believe me, because I've been there, done that so many places. So I'd appreciate it. If there's anything you want to ask me, anything you want to say, I'm here. I thank you. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yes, ma'am. I was just saying, we appreciate the abundance of wealth that we have in this room with us right now. I always like talking to libraries and people with a vast knowledge of wealth. You say you travel all these different lands, so we most definitely have 1,000 questions for you. I want to ask the like you said, connected with the other tribes, Brother Yuri, and I don't want to mispronounce the guy's name. Can you hear me? Can you come on for a second? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Greeting.
Guys, so real quick, what do you want us as a people or the world to know about the Khoisan plan? What do we want us to know about that?
What do you go? You answer. You answer.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Shawnee, and basically, to answer the question, I can probably answer from what we as the women would like, because we are also a matriarchal society, and one of the biggest pains that we have, that we see, is really shared intersectionally with all indigenous nations, is us not fully honing in our return to who we are. We are trying to do so many things and be so many things, but we are forgetting that the core of what we are doing is, it's your own personal homecoming. You taking yourself back to your own ancestry, going back to yourself, and that the journey is mostly inward and not outward. And from being in a space of healing and working in the spirituality, we see how people get distracted so easily by those things that are external. And once we are so externally focused, you can be so easily distracted. So a message from the people from our soil is that we tend to look inward and to keep things close to ourselves. A lot of people ask us a lot of questions about us because there seems to be an air of mystery about us. And there isn't actually an air of mystery. It's just that we are very inwardly focused, and we're very focused on what we can do within our space to heal ourselves and have that abundance spill over into the universe. Because we believe that our healing is your healing and your healing is our healing, and that we must all heal collectively. But that can't happen if you're not going to be brave and take the first step yourself by coming to your own homecoming and being present for yourself. Thank you. Kai Gangans.
I shall say, and real quick, we have a saying over here. They say we have to have knowledge of self. We got to have knowledge of self. Somebody phone, when people are on, we have to mute the phone so it don't do the echo. Can you hear me? People are on, we have to mute the phone so it don't do the echo. Can you hear me now? Okay, real quick. We're from all around the world right now. We got the guide and goddess. They're from South Africa right now. We got this brothers from South Africa, and we're going to speak on that what the South African Khoi clan represents and why am I speaking to these people right now. We got this brother right here representing North Philadelphia as well as Florida as well as Turtle Island that's over there with his feet on the ground trying to bridge the gap while the internet is trying to destroy these people because they sent agents over here to disrespect us. Meanwhile, the real people, not the ones that go over here, a lot of the people that we see from Africa that come over here aren't the real people. These are the elites that they send over here with their own kind of mind frame. When you're looking at these Somalians and looking at Nigerians, everybody look like us. They don't got the same kind of energy and struggle as we do. Now, the thing about the Khoi clan is the Khoisan clan is that they're actually the original people of that land. Can we talk about that a little bit? And if anybody that wants to speak on that, I'll mute my mic. But I really want y'all to speak on why do y'all say are you the original people of that land? Is the land like how break down what the Khoisan clan is, please?
Yeah. Just to come in there, basically on the spiritual essence, you understand? Us being the oldest traces of humanity walking upon the earth. In our cave paintings, in our mythology, let me start basically in our mythology. In our mythology, we speak of 3 epochs of creation, where most other nations speaks of 1 or 2. We have an understanding that we were made in the honey, we were made in the earth, and we were made in the water. So moving from all of those dynamics, also now taking it further along to the astrology and the cosmology of our people, we believe when we do trance dances, when we do enter stages of high conscious trance, we can hear the stars speak to us. We can actually enter to other realms within ourselves and activate knowledges. So before the whole myth of the earth and what we have now, this propaganda of people we've never met before. One correlation in all indigenous nations, even now to Turtle Island, if you go even to Canada, all indigenous nations within their chantings got 3 similar words. Hey, Yahoo. What does it mean? It references to other things and to other realmly beings that brings resonation to what we are in this physical reality. Now we look into other similarities and simulations. We see the uses of ethnobotanical medicines. We see the psychoactive medicines being used. And these traces that are amalgamated within the usage of fire, because any nation that's older than 10 millennia knows fire, and the existence around fire is primordially because we use fire as the gateway to transmute and to commune with the Almighty. Second to that, the earth is our fullness and the strength thereof. And we use shape-shifting as a means to run across the earth and to bring across messages. So now our trance dance at this moment, we have about 12 people that are doing trance dance all over Southern Africa, but that number has lessened because of most of the elders that are at a really high extreme age, like Mother Kali. Some of them are 81, some of them are over 100. So I've been doing trance dance from the age of 8, and being initiated from the age of 8 doing this healing dance. The biggest thing for us, yes, language is big, but without your healing, nothing can really occur. Because we want to bring back the unison between the coexistence of the great trees, because by us, the mountains are trees that were once cut off in the Great War when the other realmly beings came and fledged war. In our cave paintings, as I touched earlier briefly, our cave painting speaks of the arrival of the Anunnaki. We've met Anunnaki, but scholars and universities then debunk our oral traditions Now, what we are busy with in our spheres, in our territories, is basically bringing about educated elders that can transmute the education towards educated and skillful youngsters, because in this year medium we need people that are skillful and are knowledgeable to come and talk in all mediums and platforms that we can share knowledge about, because in our sphere, family is a knowledgeable system, and without the youngest in the tribe that cannot understand or even be part of decision making, then the tribe is lost. Because one, if the mother is strengthened, the father is even strengthened. Once the strength of the mother and father is combined, the strength of the child is even far greater. So we include children within our trance dances. We include the elderly, so we can have the maxes of all theology being present. You understand? The ownership of land and the ownership of as one can say, then legality, in terms of understanding legality. Most of our indigenous nations are using stipulations of ILO 169 conventions and the UNDRIP and also the UNROP to mitigate within the local standards of municipalities, regions, or territories, where once these kingdoms and spheres and chieftaincies or tribes used to rule. Um, Now you understand the formulation of migration, the formulation of deconstructing of our identity. We speak now of the Arab slave trade before the transatlantic slave trade. We speak of the conception when British islands, before they entered the Moors land, which is then known as today's Europe. When they stole the compass of Alzira, they became the mightiest fleet upon the ocean. So we ultimately are bringing about back the land of the law of causing no harm, do no loss, and ultimately facilitating that within the spheres of indigenous custodianship, and using the platform of decolonization, but focusing on the highest form of indigenization, using the practice of our indigenous identity to bring about understanding and also light amongst our youth that are asking the question, right? I am, for example, to say, if I may use a term now, with no disrespect, a lot of our people will say, yeah, I'm a nigger. But when you come to our circles, we don't want that word there. You're indigenous, because you are more sovereign than the terminology of the world that you are placed underneath. You
Like the term
understand?
colored.
And here in our country, we are called colored. Um, I'm from a chieftaincy that's unbroken, right? We are known as bastards. You understand? We've been bastardized by the terminology of the colonial hold. But in my clan, we are known as Tarakwing Aman. You understand? So we are challenging the mere terminology of existence that brings about the total limitness of our sovereignty as beings. A few years ago, I think 2019, I did a dance with one of the messengers that was sent from the Hopi people. And to understand, a few years before that interception, there was another lady that had met with also one of my predecessors that did a rain dance with him. So also in the year before that, I was blessed to get the water bag from the Canadian indigenous people, the Ojibwe people. And then their grandmother passed on, grandmother Josephine Mondane. So I'm a water shaman. I work with water, and I work with different flows of water to bring about healing. Now, why water? Water is the first primordial, pure ancestor that we can connect with. Before we even touch the earth in the physical, it's the form of our mother's womb water that touches the first existence, or makes the first imprint on the earth. You understand? And that's the blessing that we are as water shamans coming now again and saying to the totality of all shamana, whether you in earth shamanism, fire shamanism, wind shamanism, water shamanism, it is time that all those primordial ancestors comes together and starts moving towards what we call then in our terminology, in our language, Sontais, which means the supreme beings of creation, and ultimately moving back to your understanding that our mother and our father, whether it's wind, water, earth, and fire, those are our mothers, which makes us then in the primordial supreme beings of the earth. You understand? So we are bringing back the understanding when we were living in the tree. when the tree was never broken, when the tree was never scattered, when our umbilical cord is still perfectly intact and intangible towards the truth of our existence and being.
Yo, you said a lot, man, but that was powerful and that was amazing. Thank you for the introduction, guy. That's what we were looking for. You said you're a water shaman, and like I said, everybody that's on this panel right now is some kind of medicine man or some kind. We all got our own little gifts. So respect. We see you. You know what I'm saying? I myself, you can call me Sky Serpent, Nabi. Can we go to one mic? We see you. You know what I'm saying? Some of these I myself, call me Sky Serpent, Nabi. Brother Matt, can you mute your microphone for me? Go to one mic. Someone needs to get back there. Brother Mac, you there? Can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, so damn. You said a lot, brother, and everything you said was powerful. You said you were the shaman of the water, and that's powerful. And we can't fast forward through that. Like I do what I do through stone. People don't understand stones are ancient water. You see what I'm saying? The first record keeper is water. The first mother, like you said, was water. The second record keeper is ice. I think you said that too. And then the third is when we get down to these record keepers, these crystals, these minerals. You also said something real powerful. You said the people, those people, that the oppressors is trying to talk bad on us and demonize us with little words. We don't care over here. We don't care about what the oppressors say about us. I care about how my brother and my sister look at me. You see what I'm saying? They can call me nigga all day. I am Naga. I am of the Naga clan. I'm Tamukawa. I'm Washita. I am Naga. I am from the Naga clan. You see what I'm saying? Naga for us means king. In the same way I can listen to this brother and tell you were studying us the same we were studying y'all. You see what I'm saying? Because we all going through the same struggle, brothers of the same struggle. I can tell that you were studying us the same way we're studying y'all, because the reason we got a lot of our information, we were rebelling against what was over here. So we went extreme opposite because they stole our information. They destroyed our information. They took our mothers, they took our fathers, and they destroyed it. And then they call us degenerates. They say we are nothing but rebels and everything else. You're right. I'm Tamukawa. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to rebel against their system. I'm not going to assimilate to their system. We got our own shit going on. Mama Kali just said she got land. The brothers in the comments just talking about growing our crops and stuff. The most powerful thing we can do, the most revolutionary thing we can do is garden. That was powerful. Everything you said was very powerful. And I look forward to building with you and your brothers, because y'all acknowledge who you are before anything. We got a lot of people that come over here and hopefully they come back. But a lot of Nigerians, they come over here. And when they come over here, they everything but indigenous. They everything but black. When the Somalians come over here, they everything but black. When a lot of people come over here, you came over here off the backbones of people like Mama Kali. The only way you can get over here is through, when she was talking about the civil rights movement and activists and everything else, that's what opened the doors for everybody else to come to these lands. Come like she said, embassy, come respecting the tribes, come willing to learn and network. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let me get them back in about.
Can I make a comment right here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm out.
Okay, our people, our Khoisan who were with us, they left because are they still around, or did they get knocked off? Well, anyway, I just wanted to make a comment, about the indigenous people of Africa. Being an ethnobotanist, we had to go into the hinterlands, okay? They didn't really have botanical gardens, and they had something similar to botanical gardens at several of the universities in Africa. I actually went to the botanical gardens in Cameroon, in Nigeria, I was at Oshobo, that shrine there, Oshun Shrine, and of course, Ghana had a botanical garden there. that was actually built by my husband. He was when he was very young. I mean, he started there at the Botanical Garden at the Kwame Nkrumah University in Kumasi. I think he was 18. He was his father was a ethnobotanist as well. So whenever we went to these areas, we were in the indigenous lands. You know, we had to walk. I did not travel on tour buses throughout Africa. I traveled in buses, not tour buses, but the buses that the other people rode, and cars. You know, this and taxis. You know, you may get 6 people in a taxi on the dirt road in the back. That is what my husband and I actually did in Africa. And this was between 1988 and 19, I think, well, I returned in 2006 and stayed in Ghana for 4 years. But I also wanted to mention that I see that Charnay is back. And so I just want to mention you, and I see you too. The Khoisan being the original indigenous people, and our brother Yuri mentioned, that they had overlaid the laws of the indigenous people with these statutes and everything. They come in with their apartheid overlay, right? And then that's what they did here. We already had a constitution, the Iroquois Confederation. We already had a constitution. They copied it and called it the United States Constitution, And so, I mean, this is an apartheid system here in America. And if I may just take one more minute to explain to you something or to share with you what I got yesterday. Do you know that the Supreme Court of France has declared that there are no Aboriginal or indigenous white French people? That was decided I just read about it yesterday. And so I thought about it and said, yeah, of course not, because it wouldn't be in their laws that there are white people in France. They never had to say that because in their memory, they've always been white. Of course, we know that the Moors went in there and civilized as much as possible. Those Europeans didn't do such a good job because they're still quite, they're still quite barbaric. We know that here for sure. And we don't stop talking about it. There's this censorship that's going around. But I just want to say to you, probably the only country that talks about white people is America. 1790. Y'all remember? That's when they created white people. And that was after the Baker Rebellion, when the indentured servants who were coming over from Europe, European or pale-faced indigenous, pale-faced Europeans came over. They were enslaved. The Aboriginals, Americans, the American Indians were enslaved, and they got together to protest, right? Well, after that, they had to create something to keep the white people from joining the so-called Black people or the indigenous people. They had to put something in place, and that's when they created white people on the books, on the law. Well, they never did that in France. So they said they're trying to, the French, who are now overrun by Africans and Arabs, or I shouldn't say Arabs, Middle Easterners, or should I say other Asians, because there are many other Asians who have come into their land. And so they're trying to make a distinction between themselves, as pale-faced French and those who have come in. But there's nothing on the books. There's no law on the books creating white people. And so because there is law on the books here in America, they brought white people from South Africa, giving them land. Did y'all know that? You heard about it. Well, they have refugee white people on the books. But there are no white people in Europe, according to the law. I don't know what they're going to do now. So I just wanted to add that.
Wow, Mama Kali, that was. Can I get in there? Okay.
Can't hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Wow, Mama Kali, that was great. I definitely would like for you to talk to the people about what you were doing when you were moving around Africa, from the studying of the herbs, and you kind of graze over it. If you can kind of talk about that, and then pass it over to Daniel, because Daniel represents a big part of this circle, because he's actually a youth originally connected into this circle, and he's a grown man with his own child now, who actually trains, works with youth in the garden, and is an artist and an active participant as a warrior that grew from the soil that we were helping to fertilize in our community. But you are a major pillar who already bridged from Africa with your own personal experience. So if you could kind of like talk on it, and I would love for Daniel to talk to our brother and sister Yuri and Charnay, like, because I know there's a bridge there with Daniel. I know he's itching, so I just want to give him permission to get up in there with it.
Yo, I was gonna pass it. I was on mute when I was about to say it, but I'm about to pass the mic right to Daniel. I'm no look past. Watch this. She said the indigenous Americans. Can you hear me, G?
Yeah.
She said the indigenous Americans were the only people that spoke out against tyranny and spoke out against the oppressor, spoke out against these cave people, right? She said the indigenous and here's Daniel to this day still speaking out about it through his words, the spoken word, the power of the word. The brother said he's a water bender. This is an air bender because he speaks, you know what I'm saying? And we have never showed you before the power of the Black indigenous words. You see what I'm saying? Now that's how the bridge, that's the pass. I pass the mic to the young poet himself, Daniel Diamante. How you doing, guys?
Peace, guys. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Let me move locations real quick.
The wordsmith.
All right. Peace. Let me see.
No, Dad. Looking like a good man.
But
hey,
yeah.
Did you heard the question that Waterfucker was asking you?
For the most part, reverberate it back to me real quick.
Waterfalcon?
Daniel, you know what to do. You're a bridge right now. You have a divine elder that is imparting some information that connects to what this divine couple is sharing. And there are some parallels and some growth and I know there's some pieces you want to figure out. I'm just passing the mic in that way to keep it moving a certain way.
Definitely. All honor to the tribe, peace, respect, and power to everyone that's called. Thank y'all again for being here and being present and channeling the ancestors and having the ancestors present in this conversation. The thing I want to get right into, I'm gonna start by just showing a bit of what I do, and that is again what we've been talking about, but the art of the tongue, using the sword as a tongue, using knowledge as the weapon in this time. Another day, same distraction. It's dark against light, young against old. Division is destruction of soul. So don't divide yourself from your home. Your mother is your home. Your father is your house. Your brothers, those are your walls. Your sisters are your rooms. Honor the space that you're stepping to lay. Make it your home, because your house is not a place to dismay. These walls will keep you safe if you let them. Gotta fill them with grace. Don't tear them down, my brothers. Seek to build, do not search to destroy. The land is my elders. The trees are my pride and my joy. My fruit is my wife. Our seeds are the children we make. Their roots are my words. So when I look at them, I think, what will I say? Will my words be life? Will they be water? Will they ground them in grace? Give them foundation? Because your nation is the family you build. The laws of the land is the indigenous parents' plan. So I will set out to heal. We speak to reveal that dark of night, so we know the purpose of day. The new dawn is you. You are the lice. You are Obatala. You are Ishel. You Yemaya. You are Ogun. You are Oshun. The sun and the stars, the tide and the moon. You are a home. You are a throne. But a king cannot build a kingdom alone. A king needs a queen, and the queen needs a king to protect her throne. The family is God. The family is light. The indigenous family is whole. That's a piece that I wrote recently, but just to give y'all an understanding of the type of energy I'm coming to when I come to the youth, because being an individual who benefited a lot from having tribe and clan around me, and extending that hand to me when I was at a young age, reaching a hand out to me before other things had reached a hand out to me, was very impactful for my journey into adulthood right now, even as a father and as a husband. Having been shaped and mentored by figures like Jamal, Arisha Stone, Yemi Wola, having the ability to hear the gems that was given to the people around me by individuals like Mama Kali, a Sister Marama, Sakaba Kameen, a Dr. Phil Valentine, and so on, for those ones who aren't alive with us anymore. It was major. And a lot of the work that we're doing right now in Turtle Island is continuing to recreate those spaces for tribe to come together. For example, right now, what I've been doing a lot of work with is major collaborations with all of the Head Starts in the region that I'm in Orlando. So I'm at 3 Head Starts in this region. I teach at one of the high schools as well. And I have my
Like I said, we all around, so he might have a little technical difficulty. We having bad weather, but he gonna get right back with us in a minute. Everybody else still with us? Water Falcon?
Yeah, let me jump on in there. Maybe he'll jump in a little later.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he can bounce back.
I want to get Mac in here, man, because this is a divine circle. You know, Daniel represents a type of a young being that will be definitely following us over here. We're creating a bridge of able beings that know how to interact and create trade and currency movement. And everyone that's talked a little bit and touched on some of each other's topics. But Mac is being extremely modest just on the fact that he hasn't said much. But I would like from the jump in and kind of pull from the space and kind of talk to us about what you're feeling and any other questions, or just introduce some of the initiatives and kind of talk about castor oil and ley lines and some of the things that we've already built on. That would be great, brother.
Is he already in?
Yeah, it's Mac.
That's not Mac?
Mac. No, Mac.
Let me double check. Mac. He said remove. That's supposed to be Mac right there. They say he's in here already. That's not him?
Yeah, he's there. We asked him to unmute. We asked him to mute his mic too many times. Come on, let's get him in here and come on, Mac.
Oh, there you go. Yo, no, peace to the guys. No, I told him mute the mic because we were having a horrible echo, and I didn't want to miss the message.
Right. I got it.
Okay.
Mac, you there? All right, we got Daniel back.
All right,
Yep.
perfect. All right, so boom, back to what I was talking about. But I'm at the three head starts, the one high school, and then outside of that, I have my own program that we do every Saturday with the youth from the hoods out here in this area, and we come out there on Saturday. And just like I'm doing throughout the week with them, but I'm taking them on hunts in the nature we have around here. So taking them to specific forest regions, specific springs that are in the area, specific lakes that are in the area that our indigenous tribes and our indigenous bloodlines was meeting at and gathering at. And while we there, we're doing things like breathwork exercises, getting into our yoga, releasing the meridians in the body so that we can be healthy vessels for the right type of souls to come through and the right type of energy to come through. Doing our exercises, practicing boxing, wrestling, different forms of martial art with each other, getting back into our manhood as young men, getting back into our physicality, so that way we can show up as men and even show up as women. You know, having the sisters partake in that stuff as well. But we're also doing things like foraging, having to be able to identify the plants that you're seeing, having to be able to identify how to use them, what each one is good for, how to prepare it, how to dry it, how to save it, teach them how to do things like growing cycles as well. So how to properly feed the soil in order to grow this here crop or which crops to grow other crops with. We're also speaking into the spiritual aspect of the different plants. So certain plants relate to this part of the chakra system. Certain plants relate to this part. Certain plants help you work with this spirit. Certain plants help you with that one. So getting into that with them. And then another major part of it is whatever form of education we choose for that day, whatever the main topic theme is, they have to create something from it. So they now have to write a poem, perform it that same day. They have to make a song, record it that same night, or at least start to record it. They have to figure if they want to draw a piece to explain what they learned that day, and then start that process that same day that they learn it. So that way the information isn't just dying once it's being given, but it's going on to transpire into something else and evolve into something else. Because a lot of what you'll see times is we give something to not even just the youth, but all of us across any age group. We give a piece of knowledge or we get a piece of knowledge that we aren't fully taking it and going into the process of alchemization, of turning that knowledge into something tangible, turning it into a movie, a film, a photograph, turning it into a piece of art, a body of work that can then be shared and given to other revolutionaries and other youth to take up and continue that energy. So that's a major part of what we're doing. But when it comes to that, what would you say is some of the major things? This is a question for you, Mama Kali. But when it comes to evolving to something else, because a lot of us will spend time. Matt, you can mute your mic. But when it comes to what you experienced when you was in Africa, what would you say is some of the major cognitive dissonance? When it comes to the major things too.
Okay. Would you repeat the question?
Yes.
There was some interference.
Yes, ma'am. What would you say? And this is something too that I would like for Yuri and Charnay to answer as well. But in Africa, what would you say is some of the major like cognitive dissonance that you experience with the youth, and how do you get around it whenever you're educating them? Because over here, what I've noticed, a lot of it has to do with the capitalistic, always have to be right type of culture. So a lot of times it'll come from me explaining something to them, and it's that I already know that, or not being comfortable enough to say I don't know something. Can you teach me? That's what I've noticed. The cognitive dissonance style over here is, what is it like over in Africa where y'all are at?
Okay, well, that I traveled there probably earlier, not probably, but earlier than most of them were actually, most of the countries were not connected to the internet at all. In fact, if we had like a phone, 1988, there were no cell phones. I think that I got my first computer around 1991 here in the US. So when we actually traveled throughout Africa, we didn't have access to communications like we have now. In fact, all the calls, believe it or not, all the calls from Africa had to be routed through Europe. Okay? Even if someone in, say, like Senegal had a phone, then the calls had to go through the cables to Europe in order for the person to get that call. Now, I know this directly because we had a relative who worked at the phone company in Great Britain, and he was able to hook people up, from Great Britain into West Africa and Southern Africa at that time. But they had to have that landline. Now, it's very interesting because as far as not being able to understand now, when I was living in Ghana, and I spent 4 consecutive years living there, started a farm there, Moringa Farm. And at that time, the cell phones were getting to be, this is like from 2006, 2010, 11. And, the cell phones, a few people, not everybody had them. And so, and even if you had to, it was about 2009 or something that you could get a little a device to hook into your laptop or PC in order to get internet. So I did that for a couple of years over there. But what I found was that the youth in Africa, and actually I wrote about it in the book that I wrote, American Indians Searching for Home, the Diaspora Road in Ghana. That particular road that I lived on had several businesses owned by Aboriginal American Indians, Negro, Black, colored, who at that time, they were believing that they were indigenous to Africa, that transatlantic slave trade. Well, some of it did happen, but most of the people who were enslaved here in America, they were on their own land. And the white people were brought in and put over them, okay, after the Baker's Rebellion. But what I found was that the youth were mimicking American youth every inch of the way. And I wrote about it. Whenever I noted it, I said, oh, why are they? Because their culture is so beautiful, and so different, from country to country, or even from region to region. People are different. They speak different languages, And they even look different if you look at them carefully. You know, they look different. I'm sure, I know that in Southern Africa, that is the case. I saw that in Ethiopia. I spent a lot of time in Ethiopia, you know, and I saw that the people of the different regions were very different. But what I saw also during that time, and that was from the early 2000s, you know, up until about 2011, you know, there was a lot of mimicking of American youth at that time. In other words, you know, our culture, and we all know that here, our culture has been used by others and gained by others and even copied by others. You know, the first time I heard hip hop in Chinese, I was still living in San Francisco. You know, and I went into the Scopley Center. It was owned by a Chinese family, and of course, their families all work in the same business. Okay, that's how they make it work. It's a family thing. Okay, so I walk in and I hear this hip hop, you know, the beat and everything, but it's in Chinese. I said, okay. So that was the first copycats, you know, and I saw that throughout Africa as I moved during the early 20s. I'm sorry, 2000s, the early 2000s. And some of the behavior was not the good behavior, like wearing your pants below your behind and all that kind of stuff. They started that in the early 2000s. I was there and I commented on, I'm so glad I commented on it. Okay, because it's a historical record as it is. Okay, so I just wanted to put that down there. Does that answer your question or do you need a little bit more? Daniel?
No, that answers part of it, especially when it comes to the influence per se. So a lot of their cognitive dissonance coming from our influence, or our lack of influence when it comes to certain things, which even ties back into what we're doing now, and a part of what our mission is when it comes to our tribal people like Water Falcon or tribal chiefs that are over there right now, but
Mm-hmm.
creating hubs and those spaces where we can influence them in the right way. Because I
Okay.
feel historically, even if you look at what Turtle Island, Tamari, the original Kemet, we've always been the influencers of the globe.
That
Um,
is
you
true.
go back into like our oldest records, we've always been ones where our brothers and sisters from across the diaspora have gone to pull from. So especially in this time, just us returning to fully taking responsibility for what we're supposed to do in this time when it comes to how we're supposed to influence and the type of energy we're supposed to be pushing, continuing to stay stronghold in that and working on developing and securing our own forms of telecommunication, our own forms of social media, our own forms of agriculture, and returning back to how it's supposed to be done, not how the Eurocentric view is pushing for it to be done, but getting back into that and standing firm in it because they'll follow. They'll follow. We want them to follow our best qualities. So you answered my question perfectly. Thank you.
Mama Callie.
Yeah.
And real quick, you said something powerful, and both of y'all touched on it. You said the power of influence. The thing about it is, you just said a lot of technology that they have now is kind of outdated technology. They didn't have it. I was talking to one of the brothers over there, and I asked him, when was the first time you heard about an indigenous American? He said, Will Smith. I said, what was the first movie you watched about indigenous American? He said, Boys in the Hood. They're feeding them outdated information. That's not us. If you're telling them that we hanging our pants down, no, the young fellas over here, they got the the quarter zip boys now. We not on it. The negative things that they put out here on these,
They,
you know what I'm saying? They're pushing that out there. So this is why it's important for us to talk and communicate and not just look at, when we talk about influence, don't take your influence off of a TV screen. Connect with other brothers from different tribes and get to know each other. Also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, you go ahead because I did want to add to that something. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Shall I? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What I wanted to say is that you know that Israel has declared that the world's biggest enemy, and especially in America, is the so-called black boys or the youth of America, Turtle Island. They say that our young people, our young boys especially, are the biggest problem in America. Why is that? Because first and foremost, our young people have discovered that they are indigenous. This is their land. It was always their land. They're waking up from the spell, and the spell started, way back, and of course, Hollywood has been an influence. And like you said, the movies. I mean, look at how even now the influence from the movies and the music. I mean, of course, Hollywood, which is the Khazarians, the Khazarian mafia. They control Hollywood, all those images that we see, and they are exporting those negative images that were produced. That wasn't our first hip hop. Now, I remember, when our brothers were selling their CDs from the back of their car. And it was all about telling our story in real time. And then, of course, Hollywood got a hold of that and brought out all the negative things that they could conjure up and show that to the rest of the world. That's us. No, that ain't us. And the way they have projected it, it certainly isn't us, and it's certainly not now. Did you want to say something?
No. Everything you're saying is beautifully said. I'm glad, like the brother said, we all saying the same thing. Can I show a picture of who we are over here to the African clans? And this ain't just no propaganda. This is who we are.
Now, what else? This is a Timucua Indian too. This is one of the most famous. This is called the Moor with the Emerald Cluster. This was made in the late 1600s or 1700s. And it's depicting an Indian chief from Florida from 1562. 63, 64. That's when these Indians were first encountered, northeast Florida. Notice that. Gold teeth even. Come on. They was kings, people. We was kings. Rick Ross was right when he said, I think it was him, said, we've always liked the bling. We've always liked flashy, stuff like that. That's in our DNA. We can't help it. We can't take that out of us, This could be good evidence for that. That is exactly.
Now, the reason I played that was because history is coming out. You can't hide. There's too much knowledge being given to us at the tips of your finger on that cell phone that you look at. It can't be hidden no more. When they're looking at the manipulation and what's the word for it? They're looking at the manipulation and the altering, like you said, where the Khazarians are taking our style and running with it. When you're looking at gemstones, that's our culture. We're not just over here for the stones. That's our culture. He just explained that. When you're looking at these mounds, these pyramids, and this gold, that's our culture. So when you're looking at us, don't look on the TV of what they're saying we are. Ask one of us who we are. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Also, and also just because the guy was on something, and I remember working when he said he's a dad and a husband now. That's like, this was like God's son right here. And Godson was something that I was doing back in the community back in the day. I was trying to stimulate community, and you sometimes it do good. You never know who you touch or who you know what I'm saying, help. But bro, I wanted to tell you and the brothers over there, if we're not on it, all of us need to put the real big emphasis on playing chess. All of us need to overstand chess.
So that's
Yes,
A lot of
absolutely.
leaders and don't know what's on the chessboard. I'm sorry, go ahead, guys. Or God.
Yes, but that's another part of the programs that we do Saturday. Every community school, we ended off with chess match with everyone. Everybody got to run a game of chess. And what we do too, whenever we're playing chess, we assign the pieces to a real individual, a real revolutionary, in order to better understand their story in relation to ours in the current time. For example, right? Our bishops, the bishops on the board, make those the individuals who was coming at the revolution from the spiritual aspect or dealing with psyche. So we'll have individuals like a Malcolm X, make a Malcolm X a bishop type. Would make Dr. Khalid Muhammad a knight on the board. We would make a Marcus Garvey type a castle. We would make the other castle a Queen Mother Moore. We would make the queen on the board a Queen Afua. A king would be a Memnon figure or a Hannibal. Um, the pawns, we would make those the young bulls in the community. So we would choose individuals like one of us. We would be a pawn until we get to the other side and got the ability to choose whether we would want to become a knight or a queen. But first, you have to make it to the other side. So teaching them those philosophies, we also will have them make their own chessboard, and then we'll use crystals as the pieces. And that's something I got from Arisha Stone, but creating your own chessboard and using crystals, copper, silver, different metals, different minerals as the pieces. And that does to your mind. And even what you start to channel when you're playing with that instead of these figures that we've been given to use, but changing it up completely.
That's marvelous. It's really good concept.
I want to kind of jump in and just also speak to the fact that we're in the restorative time. You know, Mama Kali talked about what it was like when she was around Africa when the telecommunications was not quite the same. I do too share a little bit of that. I was a whole '80s child walking around, and I know when I was overseas as a child, it was a major effort to be able to call back home. But after the Muammar Gaddafi situation and telecommunications gradually increasing and living proof of being over here as that infrastructure has increased, and we're in the age of Aquarius and the water and the matriarch and the divine feminine energy, we are in a place of healing, restoration, and redesigning to exactly who we already are from the inner self. We got real water shamans on the board. We got people who are activating the water. The healing is in the water. The same place they corrupt and taint is the same place that we get that healing from. And right now, even in this conversation, that's what it's about. And that's what this platform and this introductory is all about as well, because we're even in this particular time on a call with a walking library archivist, a person that traveled to Africa studying herbs and seeds and plants and writing books with them and publishing them and introducing the concept of holistic health and herbal healing to the so-called Black person in America in a lot of cases. And when you look at how the water has worked very dynamically, you guys talked about Hollywood, the industry, you know, as they say, there's nothing new under the sun, and history repeats itself, but it's really people who repeat history. And then when you're going by history to repeat, you're talking about someone else's story. Where your story was a mystery. My story is a mystery. Now we found it because we found greater connections to this pour out of water. And with this internet and all these things and whatnot, we are in a position right now not to just be talking about what they've done and all that. We can identify those things, but now that we know what it is, we know how to diagnose and redesign the machine, if you will, whatever analogy you need to use to actually reach the beings that are most closely connected to you. and operate from your foundation and magnetize the beings that are on the same frequency. So I kind of want to also uh, uh, get that on the table in the conversation piece. And yes, I'm talking. I'm looking at with the faces and the energies we see here. We're looking at the solutions to anything we're talking about. Period. Right. So I kind of want to, ping pong the ball back over to the divine water shaman family over here, and kind of what you've now processed from your observation, your listening, and I recognize there was actual some laughter and smiling and what seems to be relatability in a connection, because a big thing about where we are, especially from the indigenous futurism standpoint, we've moved around a little bit, engaged people. I'm not going to call out any particular people at this moment that call themselves tribes and groups that are very what we call upmarket African, involved and very closely connected to the very what they think are favorable colonizer paper magic. But when you're on this soil, on this ground, and you look people in the eyes, you know who the real ones are. And I greatly appreciate what I've experienced. And even though there's been a misrepresentation of us, Aboriginal Americans, Indigenous members of that land, I have connected spirit and soul wise to those who have actually a vision to transcend those images. As soon as I open my mouth, it's not hard for them to recognize what they're looking at, dealing with, and engaging with, right? And there are things we know over there, and there's things you know over here, and there's some similarity. And climb a mountain and pick some up the mountain with my Khoisan brethren, Sakman, and it's been amazing. And when you're looking at this planet, right, you can see how we fit Pangea style. And I recognize a strong, and I think you're feeling it too, connection between our groups at these points. There's a lot of things said, even the spatial relationship with ley lines and the South Pole and all of that. And I just want to pass it over. Be free. You went in. You two. You're like, I'm honored and I'm appreciative of this share with you, because this is what we're looking for on our side, you know, totally. And we want to make this a regular experience. And I know that the comments are going crazy for Arisha Stone. I know that this is a great building block. So from your perspective, anything else you want to share, where this platform is also, from a technological standpoint, introducing a stable coin blockchain technology for us to completely manage our resources and create remittance, trades, transactions, and management of our content, archival, record keeping, teaching the youth, virtual workshops, any and everything is what's on the table for us to do what we got to do. This platform we're introducing as well from a technological standpoint is almost as it is we have a term that's also indigenous to America and the tribes, where we say things like Nokchal, which is one who leaves goes into the woods to collect firewood without being told. Everyone is going to benefit from who is the one that collects that firewood. And by us being in this space right here, I can definitely say there's some firewood collectors, and we are definitely managing all the elements. And let's get back to that water, how important it is for us to feed from it, walk on it, swim in it, bathe in it, know it, respect it, the feminine energy, all of that. So I'm just passing it back to you, and just talk to us about what you've now received just in this time and your walk in any time.
Yeah, most totally, most definitely. Just to touch base on what Mama Kali mentioned regarding the visual stimulations, and as the understanding as to why most of the African youths or youths all over the world, whether they're indigenous, non-indigenous, has got such a high correlation towards the American lifestyle, whether it may be within the music, the genres of music, whether it may be in the fashions and all of that,
Pop culture.
pop culture, all of that. Um, I'm gonna just bring something more correlation towards the dreadlock system all over the world and the inception of Rastafari in our consciousness and an awakening to our past, present, and our future. Um, as Von Benjamin, Akia Becca bless his soul in the heights of Zion. As the eye said in one of his songs, the eyes are the lights to the body. Look into the eyes. We tend to see when we look into the eyes of the humanity that humanity has got a long linger to exist and a linger to form part. But then when you also observe deeper within, um, when we observe deeper within the eyes into the soul into the spirit of the being that we are blessed to behold the beauty of, we then see the correlation of trauma that's low lying and existing within that plane. I understand. So with each and every part of the earth that's in turmoil of war, turmoil of famine, it's in direct with the human existence. So the human existence, then if we mimic war, then within the earthly layout and tectonical scales, there's war happening. Um, whether it's a war of survival, whether it's a war of supremacy, whether it's a war of equality, whether it's a war of inequality, but either outmost bringing about balance. So the biggest thing that we come to understand within the conceptuality of the African or only the indigenous cultures that a lot of the youngsters move away from, and specifically giving the culture of the 90s and the conception of the new millennium moving over from the 90s to the 2000s, we have seen in Africa that propaganda has played the biggest role in our countrysides. That if you cannot speak English properly, you will never be seen part of the normal society. Um, Dreadlock, if to become a Rasta, you had to leave. I had to leave my studies to become what I am. Otherwise, in our countryside, you don't get a job looking like this. Moreover, but when you look into the past and even the apartheid system, I come from a mother who lived like this, grew up like this, and when the apartheid system was introduced, they had to separate her from a family using a comb. You understand? So the degrading of our people and and the decentralization of our soul form, which is our romance, our root structure, we went deeper towards the understanding, as you've touched on the ley lines of crystals. Each humanity, and I'm going to use now another reference, the reference of Hitler when Hitler passed on his last words. Hitler said, they have taken all the jewels of the earth. And when they asked Hitler, who's this Jews? And he said, it's the black folk, it's the indigenous folk of the earth that they have taken from the earth. So if we are the Jews that these colonizers over the world and over the ages and stages fought over, we see the fighting of the Anunnaki coming here over our eaves. You see the Anunnaki fighting over the men. You understand? You see Anunnaki fighting over the minerals that we have. So we need to understand within the primordial understanding of water and the memory that water then bears. A lot of people now are outspoken about the bombing was happening in amongst Israel and Palestine. But into oral traditions, these two countries are warmonger countries. In the first conception of slavery, it was the Islamic slave trade that brought about the new colonization slave trade of Vok and all of those people. So we're having two ancients having a karmatic debt that they need to sort out. But here's the biggest onslaught. The indigenous has been both at the demise of these people, but when will the indigenous people start speaking? Here in South Africa, we have people speaking for Palestine, but in our own bosoms, we have youths dying of gang violence. We have people dying of the most weirdest things and circumstances, even with the migration of the falsehood of the white people now migrating to America on falsehood and false pretense. That all shows the stimuli of how these people, and I like what Mother Kali touched when in the later 1800s, the first form of white people or pale-skinned people came to America from the shores of Africa, which being the Freiburgers. You understand that then it became, which is today's powerhouses of white mansions. So all of these constructs and destructs that we have in our existence is that we need to move towards deconstructing the hold of social economical enslavement that we have been part in systems. Rastafari teaches us that when we become Rasta, we need to peel away the things that doesn't serve us when we become Rasta.
Mhm.
Yeah. And when we become Rasta, the first thing that we then physically understand is the past, because the past is more reliable than this year mere present, and even in this year mere present future. So when you understand the past where you come from, you can understand the present that you find yourself in, and moving forward within the present your future, and making that those three timelines, one timeline, your past, present, future, which man, humanity, whether it's human or woman, whether it's male, whether it's child, we have the power to coherently bring these things forth with the duality powers of establishment, with the power of manifestation. All of these things comes to a higher force. Now we touch base equatorial body heat. We touch base the scientific formats. And when we look into the equatorial body heat, whether it's from a fire, ice, what's the most present in all of it is the equatorial body heat of all human being. Whether we are in Antarctica, whether in Sub-Sahara, the equatorial body heat stays the same. So then comes the question then, who's from the earth and who's not from the earth? Who is skylarking and who is earthing? You understand? Because most of the people that says and claims to be indigenous in our indigenous spheres are the people who are descendants of the people that came and corrupted our forefathers. Now we have another systematic corruption that we have, eradication of mental slavery. How do we eradicate mental slavery? We look into the holes that Bob Marley said. The chains and shackles are no longer on us, but we are still in prison. So we
Mhm.
ask the African youth, we ask the world youth, where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years moving forward when we deconstruct colonization in our lives, when we start fundamentally building the blocks of indigenization within our communities, when we start prohibiting the demise of religion for the womanhood and start prolonging and putting forward the preservement of theology. Now comes again the feminist movement, the male movements. These misogynistic movements are just movements that are separating us from the coexistence of humanity. Moving forward along the ley lines and geographical patterns, you've touched on Pangea. Earlier, I mentioned we come from three forms of existence and mythology that we speak of. The first mythology that we speak of is the mythology of being created when the waters were separated. The second mythology that we speak of is the birthing in the honey hive. That's why we understand our bloodstreams to be hexagonal shape. Further along at the 6 points within our systems, the 6.666, the 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, 6 protons. Those things all are comparable reasons that makes us human being, makes us earth towards what we can understand to make the earth become movable and also immovable. We are the charges of this earth. We are the battery banks of the earth. We are the living vital organs. So if the earth, Mother Earth, in the full practice in this mere understanding, and this is from our Bushman's understanding, and a lot of scientists may disregard what we have to say when it comes to the cosmology. The earth does not rotate around the sun. Never. The sun rotates around the earth. The earth is the most radiant planet in this mere system of solar systems. That's why you have Nibiru coming close to us. Back when Tiamat was destroyed by the first conception of asteroid relationships, the earth was not woman, she was not fruitful, she wasn't fertile. So how can a young child become a mother? That's right. That's why Tiamat became the construct of destruction of self to sacrifice. And I like the touch of you goes to find a wood within the forest will be a benefit of all. And look, the destruction of Tiamat is now today the benefit of us all as humanity who are scattered from the same existence of Tiamat. When we look into a few months ago, we do full moons gatherings and we do psychedelic trances. We had a very beautiful dance when we had a sober trance without any mushrooms, without any marijuana or any botanical medicines. We went in as our sober self state when we come from the umbilical cord. To hear these words coming from the ancestors, we were never conquered. You know how much that means? I have never conquered. When my ancestors said that for me, my whole world came to a standstill. So the whole thing of colonization is just a fleeting illusion. It's just another propaganda to keep us away. If we were conquered, we won't be here today speaking about being indigenous. We won't be here speaking about the greatest scientifical yet unknown, uncharted territories that our ancestors left for us behind this inheritance. You understand? Today, scientists in all of the platforms of universities try and debunk what we know as indigenous people. Before you become a botanist, before you become a plantologist or archaeologist, you come to the indigenous person and learn from us what medicines we use. They learn from us what poisons we put together in our arrow points. Understand? Where did the scientific knowledge come from? It's the pure celestial connection to Mother Earth, Father Sky, and being the perfect conduit to flow through all of this information and being a lively wire for this to come through. Like I said, I've been initiated from the age of 8, and I can share a lot of experiences. And I like what Mother Kali touched earlier, that within the conception of apartheid and in the early stages of the advantages of technologies being reintroduced, I'm going to say it, reintroduced into Africa. Africa has been the world stage of advancement and innovation when it comes to technologies. Yes, our technologies and our equipment and utensils are now in today's what you call it museums. As I say, there are things as an artifact, and there are things as sacred relics. And then when you have your manuscript, you have your Sanskrit. Your Sanskrit comes towards your sacred object, right? Your manuscript comes towards your artifact. These things, these people take from our graves when we read into the demise and also the spreading out of slaves towards even what we call Jamaica, which today is Jamaica. You see the most stubborn of slaves were taken from Africa, from Cape Town, from Cape of Good Hope towards these places. The first meeting of our people of Vok and the indigenous people of Turtle Island was in the song Bob Marley sings Buffalo Shoulders. These people were mere bushmen that understand the migration of wild herds. I come from a bloodline that works with these things. I've got family right now that lives in conservations and conservatories that can't even hunt. I have a cousin who is in prison right now for going on a hunt to become a shaman, and then he got altercated by the law. So these infringements of laws breaks our sovereign existence and forces us into a different livelihood. You touched upon when you came to Africa, you see the visual stimulation of having pants lower than the butt. I must say it like that, as rough as it sounds. When you see these articulations of visual stimulations and the correlation of over visualized stimulations, you then see the rendering of self towards nothingness for something that's redundant to take shape. So we're now sitting within in Africa and in indigenous circles, the biggest trauma, which is we don't understand our ancestors all over the world. Our ancestors speak, and they speak loud and clear.
Oh, yes.
It is us that do not want to listen because we have become too much contradictive towards the judgment of our forefathers. And remember, our forefathers are the fiery people. Our forefathers are the people that dealt with tempest of creation that we today as humanity, with all our modern technologies, could never even last 1 hour. So when we look into the primordial essence of the migration of the indigenous people, and specifically our Songhais people, our people first migrated towards where the Pacific Islands were. and which is the letter closest people towards us as Bushmen are the Pygmy people and the people that are living in New South Papua. They are our cousins. Yeah, I mentioned earlier about Congo. In Congo, there are also Bushmen that no one speaks of, the people of Banki, which is family relatives of mine. The people of Banki that lives there, that smokes weed, that hunts, they are living in the most treacherous territory wars. You understand? The same way how the new Papua South Guinea Pygmies sing their songs to make sure that when they come back to their villages, they are still alive. You understand? These things are not made mention within the media correlation, but then the overflow of ethnics and groupings that do not belong in these territories gets overspoken. Same within our people within the southern parts of Africa. Now we look into the Southwest Germany genocide. Southwest Africa Germany genocide, which a lot of people speak about the Nama genocide. A lot of people speak about the Homvarama Heron genocide, but no one make fail to mention about the genocide of the Bushman. The Bushman has been genocided almost about 7th time overfold, but here we still are, through the grace of the Almighty. We have faced the biggest format of sculling, purging. We have faced the biggest inhumane approach towards our burial and bones, and recently about a month ago we were at bones coming back from Scotland to see, and the repatriation of our forefathers' bones, to see how the most disregard even to people that are in our governance structures that claims to be for us do not abide by our spiritual customs. I mean, those bones that left here, that were taken here on inhumane regard. I mean, the Vermin Law of 1777 has never passed. It's never did. That law was still in practice here.
Oh, sorry. No, I just wanted to answer the one comment that's popped up here, and I think it ties into what Daniel asked. The comment is, why are they fighting so much? What is holding them back from waking up? And I want to answer the question. I'm going to go a bit of a roundabout way, but don't trust me, I'm going to land our plane. Mama Kali mentioned something very, very, very important. And we are really blessed to have a matriarch with us in the room, because elders always set the tone for us to share things that need to be shared. When we look at in our teaching of decolonial teaching, we share a quote from one of our doctors, Dr. Leonard Martin, and his quote goes as follows: a slave, in our context, was denied two things: an identity and a memory. And how they erased your identity and your memory was the separation of our sacred connection to earth and sacred connection to our people and our culture. And that affected your identity, how you see yourself, and how you connect and how you engage with everyone else on the planet, or even within your community. And that is where the programming starts. And the time that we are in now, it's the time of the rise of the matriarch, the return of the grandmother and the granddaughter, where we see that the mothers are going to be put back into their places, the daughters are going to be put back, sisterhood is going to come back, because we as Bushman women, the mitochondrial Bushman women, speak of not eradication of our people, but a changing of a perception of our people, that we do not remember it the way we should. We are not engaging things with the way we used to. And it is time for us to remember the ways of the old and to come back into the ancient paths that are once forgotten, touch the ancient things. When we look at how representation is being done in South Africa, a lot of people will comb us and ask us to sweep ourselves into color classification as being black, when black has one meaning globally, and here in South Africa, it's got a completely different meaning. And that is all goes to how we are being represented and the representation that is being fed to our kids.
Yeah.
So when we look at what is being fed to us, it's absolutely true what Mama Kali said. We are being fed old things that are outdated. And this becomes the cultural standard for children. There are no rites of passage anymore for young men and young women to fall back on their cultures so that they can have an identity, so that they can have a remembering of who they are and who their people are. And this is going to be very crucial for us, that is assisting others to wake up. That is part of the process of remembering, that we also hone and call back those things, sing the songs that need to come back to life, tell the stories that need to come back to life, and not just our trauma that we've experienced. Visually, visiting South Africa is extremely violent. When we walk into our museums, we see artifacts of our people, we see all sorts of torture devices, and many of these things are also just illusions that were created. Apart from remembering, we need to start shattering the illusions and start unbinding the spell. Because a lot of this was, fear-based spells within words. And that is how they identify us. It's a spell. It's taking you away from the root origin of your people. We have a very different take on colonization to us. They called us slaves and they called us everything else because they came here to rob us from who we really were. And that is why we see a lot of us in the spiritual community can tell it is our non-indigenous brothers and sisters that do the most work to try and culturally appropriate what we do. And in that, they want to corrupt what we do as well. Because the attack on us colonially wasn't just for commercialization. They came after our healers. And when you look at the time period when South Africa was colonized, then it was peak for the witch hunts. And when we look now in the current South Africa, we as Bushman healers and Bushman doctors, we do not even share the same rights as our Black brothers and sisters. We are completely even excluded from any of the other practices in terms of how legislatively that is put out. And that just goes to show how they have come in and systematically and strategically put their laws on top of our laws. Absolutely. And we must remember that we are the people of the soil, we are the people of the trees, we are the people of the plants, we are the elemental beings. And we need to come back to the understanding of that. Not the understanding of what other people think we were, the understanding of your elemental being, who you are at your very core. When we look at in the Bushman, we believe that the feminine is water. Most of the female rites of passages are complete mysteries. We do not talk about that in the presence of men. And no men are allowed in our rites of passage as well. Because women are like Mother Nature. We have the same gifts as Mother Nature. We are procreators. We create with nature. And therefore, what we do are mysteries. And when we look at how our women are being treated today by our own brothers, even us as women, how we treat one another, is a direct indication of what we are doing to earth. And also is trauma playing out of what the colonizer came and did to our people. They detested the purity and the beauty of our femininity. They could not understand the power in which we have. When they came here, they took matriarchs out of their positions of power and put male chiefs in place. And now we see today that the patriarchy also doesn't serve the men. That the men themselves too now have to speak against the very systems that were put in place, that they were made under the illusion that it would benefit them. But all along the game was rigged. It only served an elite few. Or the master. And the cognitive dissonance with our youth here at the moment is that they cannot piece where they are. It's like Uri said earlier, you hear your ancestors, but you can't understand them. You feel their call, but you do not know what to do with it. And without having created safe spaces for young people to come to, or even for us to come to, we will have this as a painful memory forever. So the platforms like what we have tonight is extremely important for us to come together, be it from different tribes, from different nations, from wherever we are, even if it's just to talk, to speak about the things that we intersectionally share, because the wound is the same.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, the wound is the same. We all come from the same ancestry at the end of the day, because that's what we believe as Bushmen, that we all come from the same ancestry. We are all related in one way.
Can I ask a
Because
question?
when you look at everyone else's blood, they've got Bushman in it. But we as Bushmen don't have anyone else's DNA in us. So when you come to us, we say, welcome home. You're coming home.
I see.
And to us, homecoming has a very deep meaning. It is the coming into oneself. Like Uri said earlier, the weaving of the thread that becomes the umbilical cord that ties us to nature, that ties us to divinity. That is what we lost. And it's not something that you cannot regain. It's just literally something that you haven't seen yet. We are like children that has orphaned themselves. Your parents are there. You just don't know who your parents are. We just need to make the connection. So platforms like this are so important for us to steer one another in the direction of making the connection. How do we bridge the gap of what colonization did, pushing that aside and getting that sacred connection back to nature? And also teaching how to properly work with plant medicine. How to come humbly into medicine, because medicine has a consciousness of itself.
Yes.
And the healing potentials that we work with and the deities that we venerate, besides our ancestry, they also come with a different type of consciousness. And I think a lot of the concerns that we have is that our children are not prepared
For that.
for that.
And the paradigm shift that comes with that, because the biggest problem and backhold or backlash for our humanity is the shifting of the paradigm and moving from the stagnated construct of patriarch versus matriarch, then rather moving towards the stimuli and stem of synchronicity that then bears the fruit of unity. Because we all want to harvest from the fruit of unity, but don't want to work and toil the earth and plant the seed of the tree that produces synchronicity. Because the whole earth system is a womb system. It's a system of synchronicity. Because if the sperm that we then ejected into the woman doesn't form any part of synchronicity with the ovary systems, then there will not become any entwinement of life. So when we articulate these things, it's all the matter again, mother. It's again that understanding where mother serves the ultimate. And again, when we come to Ethiopia, which Mother Kali mentioned earlier, the inception of the Adwa battle. So next year we do every year in Feb, and in the last week of Feb, and then until the 1st of March we do the Adwa battle and the 1510 battle between the Bushmans and the Portuguese, when we defeated the Portuguese in 1510. So we then do I do then communos on horse. I'm now at the moment just writing up proposal letters to assist us with doing a Camino, our very first horseback Camino. This is now, I love what happened a few years ago when Jim Marsh from the Lakota tribe did a Camino on horseback to bring about commemoration of the 38 plus 2 Indians that were hanged in Washington on the day after Christmas. And watching that documentary really stirred up a lot in my mind, in my heart, because we have so much similar understanding when it comes to warriorship. And I love what Daniel mentioned earlier, the understanding of teaching our young men to be the protectors and the servants of our communities, rather than the controllers and the dictators, and also mainly what men has been portrayed as the chaos and the destruction. And then giving the woman the platform also to become the vital protector, the vital servant, because that role has also been taken away from women. Now, when you look into what Madam Taitu said, Empress Taitu, the wife of Emperor Menelik II, and this is one of my most favorite speeches and empowerment from a woman's stance, is that Ethiopia shall build a throne on them and those skulls, on them and those who come and colonize them. So if the mothers of before had that vision that they are willing to build our throne, our kingdom on the skulls of them and those who are willing to come and colonize our beloved country, then let's be warned. So if that is the understanding of the mothers that we come from, then we as men we need to put up our pants. And what we say here by us in South Africa, we say it takes a real man to wear a G-string. We wear thongs, leather thongs as Bushmen. And to wear a thong and to wear that uttermost part of your ancestral garment and walking amongst your village pridefully, and being what you are as indigenous. This is the platform tonight that can actually bring about more fires in our communities, fires that will not destroy the mountain, but bring back seeds. And this is what Mother Khan can contribute. In Africa, we burn the mountains every time of the year, certain times of the year, to bring back different types of ethnobotanical medicines that has been lost via millennia. Again, fire introduction, because our fynbos is so versatile and so mystic that when the introduction of flame, certain plants come back that we haven't seen in the conception of the first 2 millennia of creation, which is the beauty of the African platonical scales that we have here. Where we live in Genadendal, which is one of the oldest missionary states in Southern Africa, which is also a town which is older than Cape Town itself. So when we look into where we find ourselves in our mountain, there's cave paintings and specifically water rivers that are ancient water rivers. You understand? Now, when I say ancient water rivers, where you can actually find geographical water flow patterns that actually brings about the understanding of civilization and how our people moved with water and migrated where water was. Then the paintings in the cave rock paintings describe different mystical happenings taking place, like our trance dances, and how these trance dances were, as my wife earlier touched on, as rites of passages. Rites of passages such as yung dororo, rites of passages that capoeira. These things, the different schooling of male and female, are the things that makes us what we are. And certain individuals are only allowed to be there. They've got authority and also the blessing to be part of that. So within the womanhood circles, it's the male shamans that goes with them to the wild to protect them. And then those 7 days or to 14 days which they spend in the hut, and moving from there towards the vibrant waterfalls where we believe the water serpent lives. You understand? And when we call the water serpent, they then bless the water serpent with their first menstrual blood. You understand? Those things today are being misinterpreted. And as a custom bearer, I see that, no offense towards elders that are leading certain procedures, we need to have intellectual and informed people that can actually help our people and our young people transcend to become the adults like Daniel. My wife and I are fortunate to have come out of the similar constructs that Daniel come out of, having a village and a people and a community that guides you towards the systematic in this your modern sea, you understand? Because anciency cannot be debunked within this your modern sea, you understand? It is us now to work towards the adaptation of the ancient customs and ancient spirits, you understand, to move along, as Shanae earlier mentioned, the consciousness of plants and the consciousness of deities, you understand, that we have, that we need to move towards, you understand, and satisfying these primordial mothers and fathers, so we can not longer be orphaned, because we are but just tools that are lent to our paternal and maternal lineages that we found upon the earth, because we come and serve our role and a duty for the mothers and fathers that we are born from on this earth, you understand? So we then actually ask then our youth in our circles that we dance with. We are now pushing a dance where we want to have a unification in amongst the last conception of genocide. And 2 days ago, we had a massive phone call where we had a discussion in regarding the killing of our own kind when we were hunted in colonization. and we were forced to kill one another for mere survival, and having a platform and a discussion for that to take place for the indigenous reconciliation amongst one another. And I think the biggest thing in Africa is the reconciliation and the xenophobic amongst Africans. We are only African when we are out in the diaspora, but when we are in the diaspora, it's each to their own. Mother, you had your hand up.
Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I think Orisha Stone had his hand up a lot. Okay.
No, I was just switching it because I know that it's Matriarch Monday and we speak about the matriarch. So I did want to channel two things because we said a lot and we got to be like break it down a little bit. One, I wanted to ask about. They say, I'm not sure, I'm not in South Africa, but at one point in time where the people of South Africa rebelling and really 86 in the colonizers, at one point in time they were putting that on the news talking about it. And then after that, I do want to ask, because Kalimama is on limited time too. So I really want to lock in with her and get some more wisdom from her as well. But this is like the brother, like Ward said, we ain't gonna get it all in this right here. And I know you've been through a lot. We all been through a lot. So we're gonna keep on building, you know what I'm saying? You know, this one of them places. But is that true? Are they killing the colonizers over there? Or 86 and colonizers over there? I'm not supposed to ask that, my bad.
They are there, but from what I have read, it is not happening. And when Ramaphosa came to see the fake Trump in the White House, you know he's fake. He's not the real Trump. And you can get mad at me and say whatever you want, but he is fake. All right. When Ramaphosa, you know, what is he, the president of South Africa? I don't know whether he's the prime minister or the president. But anyway, when he visited the White House, you know, Trump is being all arrogant and talking over him and everything, talking about how so many of the white South Africans were being killed, you know, and removed from their farms and all of that. That is not happening. It is not happening the way that it has been projected. And the way it has been, it's just an excuse for them to bring more white people here, so-called white, because there are no white people. Those pale-colored people, they created a white race here in America in 1719 to keep the poor people from coming together. That was what that was all about. And there's only one thing that I want to also mention as far as going to Ethiopia was concerned. Yeah, the talking about going, we went to visit a prophet because it was a prophet who asked us to come. And once we went down the Great Rift Valley to a little town. I mean, like it was a long way from Addis Ababa and went down the Great Rift Valley to a little town called Dilo. And once we got that, we thought we were there, but then we had to climb a mountain. We had to get to this mountain where the traditional healer who goes to Ethiopia, where he lived. And so, you know, I was young then, a lot younger. 1996, we climbed that mountain and sat up there on top of the hill at the beginning of the Nile, the source of the Nile where we were. And, you know, the prophet called us to Ethiopia to tell us to return to America and let the women who were born in the African diaspora, to let them know that they are the ones who will change the world. Okay, so those people the women in other words, that was an announcement in 1996 that the matriarch is returning. And this is the only way we can change the world. It cannot be changed with this patriarchy construct. Because, well, see, I don't have to say anything about being a mother. Because, look, what a mother does, she does it. You know, because that's what she does. You know, and as far as the indigenous women, the American Indians, so-called Black, Negro, colored, you know, we never left the home. We never abandoned our families. It was the crack epidemic that got our women out of our homes for the first time. What was that, 1980s, 1990s? I think it was 1990s when the crack epidemic tore our families apart. Had it not been for that, I think our families would have been more intact. But you have to remember that the colonizers did that over there in China. And China has not forgotten the Opium Wars, okay? They have not forgotten that the Europeans, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, you know, JP Morgan, all those guys, they were the drug pushers who actually put that opium into the Chinese colony. They were the ones. They made their money off of drugs and still are. What do you think the fight is down there, you know, in the Caribbean now? It's a drug war. That's what it is. And I could go into that, but I'm not going into any
No,
more of
guys,
that.
I'm glad you did touch on that, because the brother from South Africa, he kind of touched on it, but he was going so fast, and there's so many things we could really touch on. But he said, out of everything they got going on with the colonizers, what did he say? Don't let that go over your head. He said they also have gang violence. This is something that they've been. It's not no accident that they having the same problems. This is something that's been.
It's
Look, they look. It's that bookwork. They've been practicing on us for a while now. Don't let them. Don't make the same mistakes. Don't fall into. She just told you what happened in the 80s with the crack epidemic. Don't make the same mistakes. You think they're not going to introduce crack to y'all next? Don't fall into the gang culture that is CIA operative. You see what I'm saying? It's CIA. The whole gang culture is CIA operative to make people do dumb, very extremely dumb things that you can't take back. You said something very powerful. You said, how can we make our people forgive our people for killing our brothers or sisters or mothers? Let's the same way y'all see us on TV. We saw y'all through Hotel Rwanda. We saw them killing the Twa people. What can convince us? What can convince you to kill your brother and sisters like that and kids like that? What amount of money? Like you ain't got to worry about that over in America. We ain't going. It ain't that serious. You might have some roaches here and there to do little things for little change, but when you have a frequency around you, our community don't go like that. What possessed your people to kill your people, sell your people? You see what I'm saying? You said a genocide. It's 2025. Before the phone and we could see the whole world, we didn't know that what they were doing in North Africa to the Africans, letting the Arabs do it. We didn't know what they were doing to all these people down there. Now, the real question is, why are y'all allowing it? Y'all in Africa, y'all the biggest continent on the planet. You spoke on minerals. You spoke on minerals, and the thing is, why are we talking about minerals if you don't know what they do? Because that means if you know what they do, you know you're the most powerful continent on the planet. If we're talking about technology-wise, minerals are technology. They're not just for show.
Right.
So, and I'm just trying to speak. We also, brother Water Falcon, he started something a long time ago over here. We call it indigenous futurism. We could sit all day in the past, but if we ain't trying to work on something to get build. I'm from the Department of Ministry of Education and Minerals and things of that nature. I talk things tangibles. This is silver, right? The world needs silver, especially more technology. The world needs silver. Don't take my word for it. We'll look this up later on. But the world needs all these precious minerals. That's what BRICS is for. That's why BRICS in South Africa have their own little connections. You do know what BRICS is, right?
Of course.
And they're big in South Africa. Why aren't we, if you know how powerful these minerals are, y'all talking about gangs, why don't y'all come together and gang up on the minerals and start doing networking and getting yourself out of poverty? Because as soon as that white man take that stone from you, he sells it for thousands, if not trillions of dollars. Those cobalts, when they do it to Haiti, they do the same thing. When they do it to the Congo, it's the same thing. If y'all have all these, because don't let that go over here. When you talking about walking up the mounds, I know what's in those mounds. And we'll just leave it there. But if you know what's in those mounds, utilize it. Don't wait no lifetimes. We want to see this in this lifetime. We're going to bridge the gap. Let's talk business. How can we make money together? Yes, money's important. How can I make sure that you and your wife always take care of? You eat. We got to make money together. We have to have currency. We have to have business. Everything else is an illusion if we're not working together and building each other up. My apology, guys. Also, Ward, can you please? We were talking about the new network, so we don't have any more glitches and stuff. Can you please break that down for us? This new network that we're trying to launch, or that you're launching. My apologies. Scott,
not a problem anymore. Not a problem at all. Okay, so we here. You know, everyone has a different perspective from where they're standing, and all of that is going to get much more cleared up right now. But what I want to do is get set for a closing statement. The fact that we're here on this introductory platform, all about connecting tribes, and I kind of mentioned earlier that we're also producing stable coins, tokenization. These are all from the perspective of restoration and sovereignty. So anyone who actually is paying attention, and most everyone on this earshot is within a pay attention zone. Next step is just talking to the right person, and everyone on here has someone that can hear them and can reach out to them. And we're going to have access points. The name of the platform that is central building is axpt.io. This is the beginning of that indigenous futurism perspective and that ethos, restorative journalism, which is what we're doing right here. Also archiving. This is also a way in which people can do trade and exchange with each other outside of colonialized mindset constructs and whatnot. It's a fintech, it's an information hub, it's a cultural exchange bridge. And I want to give this last piece, we want to give a little bit of a song for the energy and the movement of the water for everybody. And then everyone can just close out however you wish. I'm going to say Arisha Stone, I love the strength. I love the strength. I love the strength. And Mama Kali, appreciate your presence. And we just getting started. Daniel, you know, our new family members, Khoisan representatives, Yuri. My eyesight is struggling to read the name of your beautiful wife. This is a wonderful time. I greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, oh yeah, my brother Mac, keep jumping in and out. We are committed, let me speak to him real fast. We are committed to at least 13 of these episodic arrangements for us to engage in dialogue. We're committed to 13. My brother here, he was very modest, but this is just a one step. This is just a one step. He's going to, and when we close out, I would love for him to introduce the opportunity for our people to invest in his castor oil farm. This is all Khoisan. This is all sacred. This is all internal family exchange. And just, I need you to talk about that, the medicinal properties of castor oil. Because the people listening, we all got our perspective when we love that castor oil in this network. So here we go.
I just want to comment that, from the time I was a child, we always had castor oil, and our parents would line us up, our mother would line us all up and give us some castor oil and half an orange to eat the orange after taking the castor oil to kind of, uh, change the taste in our mouth. And so I came up on castor oil and I'm still using it. I use it for my feet and my legs and my knees and everywhere. I rub it at night before I go to sleep. Castor oil is powerful, okay? And it used to grow around here just wild, but I haven't seen any in recent years. But I was looking forward to hearing that brother talk about his castor oil farm. The brother,
He's definitely going to do that. Yeah, Mac is going to, he's going to, there you go. Mac is definitely going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you a little song, and then I want everybody to go into their closing, and we just move from there.
Yo, while we waiting on them, brother, we taking the South African brother.
We right here. We right here. You, as soon as we done, you just jump. You take it all over.
With the trying divide. Oh, right. Oh, we about to take a dive. Slipping feeling the drenched in nourishment of my brother. Forget these words, taking fixed strikes, letting everything dissolve as we rise. Chilling with the sniper in the window, a subtle innuendo. We don't want no smoke. We open the window. I've been going round the way, circling the cycle, checking all the tricks in place. Modern disciple, whoa, I'm about to get belligerent. Never sick of all these hindrances. I'm about to get belligerent. Now here's sick of all these hindrances. Connection, soulful selection. I just wanna be right here, right here, right here, right here. I just wanna be right here, right here, right here, right here. Yeah. Just wanna be right here, right here, right here, right here. I just wanna be right here, right here. here, right here. Yeah.
I'm sure I say. That's Maya, y'all. I don't know her tribal name, but that's tribe right there. Yo, um, real quick, because I wanted to ask that, brother. I know we ain't get a lot of time to just really just network, but you know, down here, like I just showed you in Florida, we take the beads and things like this, cultural is real serious, the crystals and whatnot. Brother, I see you, you know what I'm saying, on your neck. Now, you talking about some y'all don't got your rights, but shit, we don't got our rights. We can't rock like you rocking right now. You see what I'm saying? And just for a split second, can you explain what's going on with that neck piece right now? You talking about some? I know you're a wealthy man. I know what's on there. That's about what each one of them is about 1,500 a tooth. You know what I'm saying? So talk about it. What's that on your neck, bro?
All right. Just before I start, just wanna just to compliment on the request of what brother Waterhog requested regarding brother Mac. Um, so Mac and I got to know Mac when I was doing a pilgrimage via his community. That time his brother was not so doing so well and was actually transcending. That time the dude was quite obese at the time, if I must say that story. So we then encouraged him to come and walk with us, man. You know, because there's a lot of stress that he's having at this ghetto side. And he said, "No, come walk with us. Come, we are Bushmans." We then slept the night in at the beach in Plattenburg. We slept in a lifeguard, like the shade of the lifeguard people that are guarding the people when they are at the ocean. And one of the things that I must say that bonded us from that time to this time still is basically the use of medicine. And just to supplement what your request was regarding the usage of the camphorous oil, so the castor oil. So the castor oil is one of the most significant oils that we use also in our customs. My wife and I run an apothecary, and so one of the most base oils that we use, whether it's in its pure form, castor oil is something that we use for everything, whether it's for cleansing the bowel system, preparing scar tissues, and different formats of it. I think Shanae can actually also give a lot, basically on skincare that she's doing on a formulated basis, and working closely with Mac also now that has been coming to learn from us on basis of traditional medicine and holistic approach. It has been actually quite a phenomenal to see how the brother actually grows in that regard, you know. Yeah. So I think I'll just give it over quickly to Shanae before I answer your question.
Maybe answer the question with the necklace first.
No.
Okay, so I have, like I said, Uri's a shaman and I'm a medicine woman. And we run a very small apothecary here. It's a Bushman apothecary with a lot of modern ways, but still keeping a lot of the traditions and the principles of our ancient ancestors. We use a lot of the botanicals within our skincare as well as in our hair care and other forms of personal care items. And it's really beautiful to see how nature has responded to our call and has responded to the connection that we've made, like, and the new connections that we're making, like this connection as well, that it's binding so many beautiful things to our path, and we're very excited for the way forward. You want to talk about your necklace?
Yeah. So with the necklace, you see one with the teeth. It's a lion, and then it's a gemstone called a tiger's eye, and then it's the beads that we have in our rivers called machanchis. I've got cowries on ostrich eggshell and medicines that were made into beads. I've got protective pouch on. This is something that I use personally for warrior business. So when I'm up in the wild, this is one thing I always must have on me. So this is just part of my regalia that I still have that I have on,
And
and
rites of
then
passage.
rites of passage, and this is a medallion of my great predecessor that fought in the Adwa battle. Um, yo, it's a lot that I have on me, and let me see. This one here is our marital one. Um, the turquoise. That brings significance towards my clan that works with water. And then also the other part of Mother necklaces that I don is the snake bones. I've got a reticulated small python that I have with other beads on it. I've got beadworks that I have. I've got different formulating of beads that we have for rites of passages and also signifying our rank and structure within the village. So on shamanic beads, I have different ranking, and then on traditional authority, I've got different beads that actually represent the lineage which I come from. So I come from an unbroken lineage of chieftaincy, which is the Karakwe Naman. And then my wife comes from the Griquas. So we are two ancient bloodlines that actually came together and married into one another again. So yeah, it's
Can you
strengthening
say her
again
claim one
our
more time? Can you say
say
her
again.
tribe one more time? Say her tribe again, please.
Karakwe Naman.
And do me a favor, before we pass the mic to somebody, can you say some in your native tongue?
Say again.
Before I pass the mic to somebody else, can you say something in your native tongue for us?
Okay, so what I'm gonna say, we are rising for our liberation. Sida taucha, sida ngora
Tau,
sasip. Sida
Tauba,
taucha,
Tauba,
yeah. Sida
Tau.
taucha, sida ngora sasip.
Respect, respect. I say. Yo, Matt,
Yeah, man.
you ready? Brother Matt? You still not tapped in yet? Daniel, man, I appreciate you. You there? And I appreciate you. You there?
Taveres, peaceful greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Oh yes, brother, we hear you. Yes,
we hear you.
Oh yes, brother, we hear you.
Lovely, lovely, man. You've touched on a lot of things, all of y'all. I most probably had like 30 minutes of listening the past 2.5 hours because it's been quite difficult technologically. But yeah, greatness. I give thanks for the convo. I give thanks for the energies that's been shared. Um, I actually don't know where to hook on, but maybe at the community where Brother Jamal mentioned earlier, maybe like an hour or two ago, where he mentioned that with regards to the castor oil, I've heard my name now. Kaikan Gans, Uri. Thank you very much, Uri, for recalling the sleepover and any built, the hills have eyes, they say. So yeah, man. What I've this is a very personal journey that I've been. It's quite. I guess for all of us it's personal, but this all started with dreams. So I will go into that over the 13 uh, episodes, or I don't know what we're going to call it, or the dialogues that's still coming and so forth. So, but yeah, it was very unplanned. I didn't schedule my life to be like this at this point, but I'm grateful. I give great thanks. Um, so yeah, it started with the birth registration. So what I've done is I went down. I've all. Let me first do my disclaimer as well. I know nothing. So and whatever I say now, and you feel you'd like to follow, it's up to you. and all the information that I give here, we can further on as well. So I started off with the birth registration. Once I was able to status correct my vessel as they see it, um, or the livestock that we are as well. So once I've done my status correction,
I think he froze.
I had to look at, okay, so what's next if I should offer this to anybody else,
He'll come back in. Goddess, how you feeling? Mama Kylie? You I think you're on mute. Mama Kylie? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I just unmuted. Okay, well, I'm very excited about actually talking to live, to my brothers and my sister in South Africa. I'm very, very excited about it. I look forward to us actually exchanging, information, especially about natural healing. That's what my life has been about. My mother was the one who introduced me to herbal medicine. Now, and that was way back in the day before Martin Luther King, any of those people, okay? And so I continued it. And then, of course, I met my husband, who was from Ghana, who was already an ethnobotanist when I met him. And so I'm excited about learning. Jamal showed me one of the plants that I tried to get seeds from South Africa. Maybe you can, the Barosima or Buchu. He showed me that he had some Buchu, I believe, from Uri. Look, there was a time I couldn't get Buchu, so I tried to get some
Buhu.
seeds. And this is
Buchu.
way back in the early 2000s, I was trying to get the seeds. And somebody from Durban, I saw the package last night. I had ordered specifically seeds, and he sent me some chopped up stuff, and so that wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for seeds. And so, and another one, oh yeah, I see he's showing it. Jamal is showing that's a powerful medicine, especially for the kidneys, and actually it's also good for prostate, and so it's really very, very valuable. I want to see so I can grow it here. And so I'm very thankful. And of course, our brother who has the castor oil, hey, those are powerful. I mean, I knew that herbal medicine was something that I would always be in, even as a child, because that's what my mama gave us. And I'm knock on wood now, that's one of our sayings, knock on wood. I have not been sick, knock on wood, in my 80 years, okay? Because I don't take the prescription medicine. If I was taking it, I'd be sick, okay? Because that's what it does. The prescription medicine, it makes you sick, okay? So I thank you. I thank all of you. I thank you, Brother Daniel. I thank you, Orisha Stone. One day I'm going to have to share with you the picture I took that was taken of me standing by Oshun in the river. I was standing in the river next to Oshun at not Okosunbo, Oshobo, in a little village outside of Oshobo. Do you know the priest Elaburaban in Oshobo? He's the high priest of Oshobo in Nigeria. Okay. Well, I have a picture standing next to the water goddess in Nigeria. So I'll share that with you at some point. Okay.
Can I ask you a question before we get out here, goddess?
Uh-huh.
One time I was studying about Nigeria and everything else, and their head Oshun priestess was a white woman, and one of their head priests is a white man. That's what kind of turned me off from that perspective. Maybe
were they out of they were out of San Francisco?
I don't know. They all look like me. But
and that was in Oshobo?
I'm not, you know what? I don't know all the different words and terminologies. It's just when I see something, now I understand now that I have to understand what's all going on over there because there's different sets and different things. I just thought it was disrespectful for them that allowed that to happen over there anyway. Like that's a mockery of the people. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
just do that.
That happened in San Francisco. When I was there living in San Francisco, there was a group of men. You know, it was a men's group, and you know that came out of that homosexual thing out there in San Francisco. They came to see my husband. They wanted him to, you know, lead the men's group. They wanted somebody authentic. And I told my husband, we ain't bringing them white folks in here. You know, you're not going to be a part of any of that, you know. And so they ended up getting a brother. Oh, what was his name? He was from Burkina Faso. What was his name? He wrote this book of water and spirit. Oh, I can't remember his name. He's gone now. But they were white people who were wanting to be initiated into the Orishas, you know, Ifa or Santeria, you know, Columbo, you know, that's what they were looking for, to be initiated. In other words, they don't have a culture. The only thing they can do, you know, is copy. And of course, you know, now we know there's no white people in Europe. They've already ruled that. There are no white people in Europe.
We were just talking about the brothers intergalactic passport, and I'm not gonna walk past like we don't see your beads too. What them beads represent, goddess? I see your beautiful beads on too. See, there's a proverb we got that if you might not have a dollar to your name, but if you got beads, you rich. You see what I'm saying? So this is our intergalactic passports through the tribes. You know what I'm saying? Goddess, what do your beads represent?
Oh, these are trade beads. These are from Ghana, and people used to trade with this just like the cowries. Okay, now I've got all kinds of beads. I just kind of threw these on when Jamal called me. I wasn't quite dressed, you know, and so these are just some of. I've got a lot of different jewelry from different places on Earth. And with different meanings, but these are trade beads from West Africa. Okay, they call them trading beads.
I see.
Uh-huh.
Well, guys, thank you for your time and thank you for your energy. I want to get to Daniel and them and any last words from Ward because my phone is about to die. But I really want to have you again. It's an honor to even have you on the platform, especially on Matriarch Monday. This is big. They might not know now, but they'll catch up. Again, you said something about land. I talk about this all the time. If you already have land and you're trying to build, and you have these brothers over here in South Africa that have all these minerals and precious minerals, we have to start thinking about building free energy, magnetic homes, free energy stones through minerals, through magnets, all these different crystals that produce energy through the Congo, through Haiti, and etc. This is something I'm just saying. This is science. This is what's out there right now that they're keeping our people deaf, dumb, and blind to. Somebody told me they just stones. You tripping out because they just stones. Well, in the Congo, they killing kids for these stones. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta understand what's going on and don't let it go lightly over our head. Brother Daniel, you still with us?
Yup.
Man, Mr. Dan, let me correct myself. You know what I'm saying? Young again, you from Orlando, Florida, big representation in Orlando because there's a lot of fraud everywhere. There's a lot of fakes in Orlando. So to be real is a rare thing. I like rare stuff. You know what I'm saying? You already know I like rare things. Hey, by any chance, did you still got that painting that you did of the Timucua Chief?
Yeah, I sent it to you. You able to pull it up?
I mean, if they can see it in person, because I know you were doing your poetry, but you also an artist. Just like in the age of AI, we gotta appreciate real artists now, and we got real artists. This is part of our culture too. We forgot about art. When we get back into art, when we get back into meditation, when we get back to every time about dancing, when they get back into spoken word, when we get back into sitting down around the fire and just doing a drum circle and listening to our elders, or letting what do they call it when somebody just chanting, the chantress? That's what Maya just did. She just chanted. All that is healing energy. You see what I'm saying? But God, yeah, show me your art and then talk about that your intergalactic passport.
For sure. Let me pull it out real quick. All right. Here we go. Can y'all see it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Bling, bling.
But this piece is a piece that Arisha Stone had commissioned from me when I was, I think, 15. It's about 7 years ago now. But it has real gemstones on it. There's real rubies on the piece. There's real moonstones in the neck piece that he's wearing. And this piece is a combination of Turtle Island and Okebulon. So it's combining the Moors of Turtle Island, Chief Timucua, and it's combining Shango as well, about Okebulon, and bridging those two cultures together because they had a lot in common spiritually when it came to their characteristics and what they symbolized when it came to rebellion, war, leadership, authority. So I felt that it was necessary to put those two together in the piece.
Daniel, my apologies for cutting your wisdom. Mama kind of trying to say something.
On that. That looks like the breastplate of the Hebrews. You know, the breastplate that had a gem for every tribe, the 12 tribes of Israel. Hey, show it again. Don't show me. Show that. Yeah. You see, it looks just like the breastplate. And the different gems, different stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel. I have all that information too. But that's what it looks like. So it came within your, that was your download. Daniel, that was his download. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's the breastplate. Okay, for the Hebrews, the original people.
Amal got on one of the shirts too. That's from the Blood Money collection I made. So I took Abraham Lincoln, made him his actual skin tone. Y'all see it?
Oh yeah, he was a brown colored man.
Yeah,
with locks.
And that's a part of a series I did with every bill in the U.S. Slave currency system. So from the $1, $2, $5, 10, 20, 50, and 100, I redesigned them with true imagery of what they either did, who they were, and just the overall system that's behind it written out on those bills.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's this one. Wait if you can see it. Is it showing clear?
Yeah, my bad. My phone was muted. You good?
All right, yeah. So this one is
yeah, I see it now.
the Mother of Memnon. And this one is one I did for our matriarchs and our women warriors in the community who are rising up right now when it comes to birthing these ancestors.
Yes.
So you got Memnon in the middle. He's holding the serpents because we're in the year of the snake.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's holding the two serpents in his hand, showing that he has the serpent energy under control. He's born with an awakened Kundalini because he's returning. So he's governing over this year, governing over this cycle that we're in. And he's coming from the powerful matriarch, which is his mother. While she's holding him, she's holding the sword in her hand, showing that warrior energy. You see the locks in her hair are green, symbolizing nature, being locked in with nature. Her antennas connecting back to the earth. The sunflowers around her, representing the light. She has a golden armor on, representing that golden warrior energy. Her womb is scarred, representing the pain that a lot of our melanated women over here, well, a lot of our melanated women across the diaspora are going through when it comes to the pregnancy cycle, and then that journey a lot of the times with like the cesarean sections or the induced labors, getting into that stuff. Now she still pushed through that to create this child.
Okay. Wonderful.
We always speak on the ancestors known and unknown. So I want to give a shout out to the warriors known and unknown. Tonight's episode was called Warriors of the Garden. And we had an amazing live with some beautiful people, a lot of powerful people because of the wisdom. You know what I'm saying? A lot of powerful people because when we apply the wisdom, that's when it makes it powerful. You know what I'm saying? Getting back to the art, man. Appreciate you, Daniel, for showing that. Show me what's up with that necklace real quick before we get out of here.
So I just made this one a few nights ago. This is a piece I had to redesign for a while with some other pieces that I had going on. But in the center, some white Nigerian agates represent that Obatala energy, that fatherhood energy, that bridging of the two worlds. These pieces on the side, they come from my wife's family. She's indigenous to Florida. Her family, native tribes from Gainesville. They owned about 200 acres of land, and a lot of their land actually got stolen to create Holden Park in Gainesville. So she has some major attachment to that. But these two pieces her family had gifted to me. This one is a silver keepsake. Opens up. I'm gonna put some ancestral photos in here for that side. This side is a globe. There's Africa right here. Africa on this side, and then Turtle Island on the other side, and it's also a bell chime.
I see.
Another way to venerate the ancestors whenever I'm walking. So that way those bells are always ringing. Native silver beads going up for that cleansing energy, that purification energy, that kill all vampires, keep vampires away energy. The red coral at the center of each side, kind of working as a water bridge, because this is a lot of earth, and I wanted to have something that's a water bridge in between. Because even though I don't have much water energy within myself, I still appreciate and know the importance of the water and constantly and honoring of the water, and I know that we can't communicate without the water. So I had that water bridge in the center with the red coral, and on the back end, the glass beads to tie all of that energy back in as well. Yeah, this is a piece. Yep.
powerful, G. And then I like how you said it. People are always trying to get what they are. When you work with this kind of technology, it's not about getting things to magnify your energy. It's about balancing the energy. Like you said, if we fire, then we need water. You know what I'm saying? I got turquoise on it and a little bit of red coral and ruby and turquoise and some emeralds on there. And then this one represents the indigenous black gods of America: Veracruz, Cocopele, Marcus Codo Quetzalcoatl. So, man, I appreciate you, God, as well. And Water Falcon, we on everybody else. Go ahead and show their technology, G.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, it's there. And
He said, yeah.
you know, but I really appreciate everybody for tapping in and being in tune with the proper frequency within themselves. And in regards to where we're at and what's happening, whoever's able to hear it and see it, get in touch with whoever that is to get more information on what is happening in regards to the platform. That's what I have in closing, and I give all honor and praise to the Great Mother and ancestors that came before, the ancestors that we are, the ancestors known and unknown at all times.
I'll show you.
Peace and love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, big shout out to the Warriors, known and unknown. Again, there was a lot more people that was on trying to get in earlier. We didn't get all the information this time. Hopefully, we get it next time. This was a beautiful conversation from the tribe, and like I said, it was an honor to link with everybody. So, with that, I'll go ahead and get out of here, man, because we can do this all day. But I would love to keep building and not just talking, like we really build and network with each other. Brother from the Khoisan, man, send me some of them teeth, man. Give me some of them teeth over here, man. Let's do some network. Let's do some business. Somebody
Man,
tell brother,
anytime.
I most
Anytime.
definitely need some oil. I need some castor
Well,
oil.
I'm invite all of you next year, January next year, the first and the second, the first week of Jan. If y'all are in South Africa, hit me up. You can get me on socials. I hope for the next few interactions we can maybe share socials if we can stay in connection with. I'll ask Brother Mac for connection socials. So I want to invite y'all for a trance dance, for a healing dance next year, January. Set up for the new year 2026, and we feel from our side, from Karagwe Naman, we are ever blessed. We are ever grateful and thankful to have met all of such vibrant beings and custodians of the puzzles of the earth that can make again Panja come alive, and Panja in human form and Panja in humanity. And I'm really grateful for this.
Man, we
Yes, it's
appreciate you
been
too,
an
guys.
absolute honor and privilege. And one of the most beautiful takeaways for me is that we spoke about matriarchs, and tonight, Mama Kali brings out one of the most sacred herbs for women's rite of passage and for
Buchu.
females, which is buchu.
Tell them about the Buchu. Mythology story.
Buchu is one of the most, it's the most revered of our plants. It's embedded within our mythologies and in the mythologies of the matriarchal rites of passage. And when we go forward, I look forward to sharing those beautiful stories and songs with all of you that is linked to our herbs and our totems. And yes, some buku water. So when you guys come up this side, we'll give you some buku water.
Oh, hey, that's great.
Hey, and most definitely, we want to keep learning about those healing herbs.
Yes, you guys have Florida water. We have buku water.
Let's pass the medicine. Pass the medicine. Pass the healing.
Yeah, we pass on the medicine.
I have a sacred, anointing oil that the very most sacred plant in Gabon. We got some of it years and years ago, and I saved it, and I made an oil, a cleansing oil, a sacred anointing oil from that plant, and I still have it, available if anybody's interested in it. It's the most
Yes,
sacred
yes.
plant from Gabon. I have a lot of stuff like that hidden away that I saved all these years, you know. I mean, from what, 1980s until now?
Sure.
That's a long
Um,
time.
just in closing from my side, I've got a spiritual request for Waterhog.
Oh,
Seemingly that the Buchu has been out on the conversation the whole night. Can you cleanse this conversation and make this conversation be sanctified and blessed? Go to the nearest spring in I don't know if it's daytime there by you or whatever time space you have, and get as fresh as water that you can, maybe a liter full of it or a gallon or so. Then you take that water and combine it with the buchu and do a prayer and then flush that out into the most beautiful spring that you can find to sanctify this conversation back into the ancestors. Thank you on my side.
thank you, and I will do that. I have groundwater from here that comes up from 660 feet down. That's my water. Okay, so that is very sacred, very pure water that I have here. Okay, I'll do that as soon as we're off. While we still have some light
Love by a
Yeah,
river.
here.
thank you
We
again,
love
man.
by
I
a
know we had a
river.
lot of technical difficulties. We had a lot of technical difficulties, but we from all around the world. We did something a lot of people that talk, a lot of politicians, a lot of spiritual leaders can't do. They came together and had a conversation. And that's the most powerful. When they say where we come from, they say conversation rule the nation. So I appreciate y'all. I hope we do this again. We gotta build, man. We gotta build because they trying to destroy it. They trying to destroy it because it ain't theirs. Like the guy that said, if white people don't exist, then what are we looking at? We looking at some mutations. We looking at some body snatchers. We looking at the demiurge. We looking at the Borg. We looking at something's going on, and we need to pivot. And we need to have our own land and duck off where we can do our own rituals and have our own networks. Like the guy that said she's trying to do that. We need to do that this lifetime. So let me let y'all go. We can do this all day, but I do look forward to doing it again.
One last
Okay.
thing. One last thing. Just want to make this statement so everyone's clear. Everyone that's on this as a speaker, we're going to have a conversation offline because everything we spoke about is a solution. We have the solution to every exact thing Nabi just stated. And when we talk offline, the next thing you would be doing is introducing your platform, your people to it.
Sure. I'll share for
Okay.
sure.
Sounds
But
good.
I'll say, peace to the guys.
Power from the deep
Yeah.
rises.
Creation finds its voice again.
The mothers have returned. Behold, the matriarch.
We are the light, the water, and the shadow.